I just went with the '80s cliche macho line. It's kind of like when they do things like that's my middle name. My middle name is yeast infection. No, that's not it. Is ready. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Although I do think it would be funny somebody named their kid yeast infection.
Don't give celebrities ideas. Jason Lee named his kid Pilot Inspector.
I know. I mean, we talked about weird names the other day, and we really didn't hit on the celebrities who do that stupid shit. Like,
fucking weirdos.
Yeah, but none of them get really creative. Get a little yeast infection out there. We all know that some of their moms had it, right?
Maybe Gwyneth Paltrow, but she's too old now to have kids. Maybe when she buys a child.
Thank you, Jack the Outcast. Hey, Monkey and Jack, I just listened to the Biden tapes, and all I can do is shudder at the thought of him having control of the big red button. Godspeed from the Razor Force. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Here's the, you know what? Let's. I don't want to jump into the Biden thing yet because we do got to talk about Comey first because the Biden thing's going to take a while. But I do want to just preface it by saying, listening to it, I wasn't shocked at all. I wasn't like, oh my God, he's worse than I thought he was. Because I didn't hear anything on there that we didn't see, even after they cleaned him up as much as they could for television, you know, like with the announcers telling us what he was really trying to say, or that one video he made with like 900 jump cuts in it. He sounded like this his whole presidency.
Yeah.
When he reemerges after his I don't know, vampiric slumber and in 2019 to take up the mantle, he sounded like that since.
Can you imagine a dementia-riddled vampire?
Oh,
got some blood. Or anyway, starts just talking his victims to death.
Thank you, tall person. Hoy, can't sleep. Maybe listening to this will help. Side note, be wary if you are in New Orleans area. There was recently a jailbreak, including 4 murders. Yeah, I saw the video.
Yeah, that's crazy.
10 escaped convicts. Be careful down there. Don't pick up hitchhikers.
No shit.
I love when we drive through Ann Arbor and it's got the signs up there. Don't pick up hitchhikers. I wasn't gonna.
Wasn't planning. Well, I'm going to now just to spite you, sign.
Shouldn't that sign be everywhere, not just in front of jails? You know what I mean?
You would think so, but they only ever put them like in the immediate area of jails. It's within like 2 miles.
I've never heard a good hitchhiking story. There's only 2 kinds of hitchhiking stories. One are not safe for work.
Yes.
We're going to set those aside. The other one ends with somebody, at least one person, murdered.
Yeah. You want to hear the story of the time I picked up a hitchhiker? I'm guessing.
Are you kidding?
What?
My fucking internet. Okay, guys, the reason we weren't here yesterday is because of storms in Michigan. They're still going on, so I may be cutting in and out. I apologize, Jack. I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh, I just asked if you wanted to hear the story of the time I picked up a hitchhiker.
Oh, sure.
I made it as creepy as possible. So nice. I did it kind of on a dare because I was on the phone with a buddy of mine. And back in the days when you could drive with a cell phone on. And I was like, hey, there's a chick hitchhiking. And he's like, pick her up and make it weird. So I left the phone on. And I was like, where are you going? And she tells me. And I'm like, I can take you as far as Cincinnati. Because I was going to Cincinnati. And she's like, okay. So start driving. I didn't say anything for the longest time. And then I put the radio on and put Christmas music on. And it's nice. July. So I just played Christmas music because my iPod was hooked up. So all Christmas music. And she's like, okay, that's kind of weird. She doesn't say anything for a long time, but then the silence kind of got to her and she does a little bit of chit chat. And I just gave her like real abrupt 1 or 2 word answers. And then I'd occasionally look over at her and then looked straight ahead as soon as she caught me.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun. I fucked with her for quite a while. It was about an hour and a half drive.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it was super awkward.
Did you at least let her in on the joke by the end?
Nope.
Oh, that's fucked up.
I am there to make life lessons for people. That's what I think. If you're in the car with me anyway, you're probably wishing you were dead. So
look, she's gonna watch one of those forensic file things, because I saw one like this where a woman realized she was almost killed by somebody, and she's gonna turn you into the authorities.
Nah, she was too freaked out by the end.
She'll be like, "I'm the one that got away." I'm not sure we should be bragging about scaring helpless women. It's funny, don't get me wrong.
No, it was a lot of fun. That's all I'm saying. It's just I had a good time. My buddy had a good time because thankfully he muted himself so she couldn't hear him laughing. But that was a very expensive phone bill.
I bet.
By the time I got it, because this was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. So there's no statute of limitations on that.
Is this back in the day of paying for minutes?
I remember having like Verizon at the time, so it probably did cost me quite a bit, because I would do shit like that a lot where I would run up my phone bill, because I never had unlimited minutes until I switched over to the Walmart track phone.
Well, I think we went to Verizon because of their unlimited. It cost more to get unlimited, but not as much as it cost to pay for excess text when you have teenagers.
Yeah, well, see, that's understandable. I hated texting. I still do, but
me too.
I do it occasionally more now because I have unlimited. But back then, I never did it. So
I fucking hate the people like, oh my God, why would you actually call? Because it's quicker, easier. We don't have to talk a long time. We can just have the conversation and be done with it.
I could send you a telegram, but I don't want to. We have this fancier thing called voice communication.
It's amazing,
thank you, Nikola Tesla and Marconi.
It's amazing how we have regressed in that manner.
Yeah, it's just another way to alienate yourself from people, so you don't have to actually socially interact and be held accountable. I don't know.
Real quick, a tall person. 10 people escaped. It's 9 now because they did recapture one, but the original escape there in New Orleans was 10. That's what I was hinting at. I should have actually clarified that when I said it.
It's always disappointing with stuff like that. Like, they recaptured one, not like he fell in quicksand and drowned. It's never cool like that. It's never like an alligator got him in the bayou.
I just always feel bad for the guy who gets caught first because it's always immediate.
Oh, yeah. He did all that work for nothing, and he's going to get another, 5 to 10 years added onto his sentence for escape.
He wasn't even out long enough to get laid, man.
Yeah, or even get, a burger or anything. Like, he just got caught immediately. That shows a lack of planning on his part. Like, don't take a part in an escape if you don't have a plan, dum-dum. Like, you're a terrible criminal. You're just bad at your job. Get a new line of work.
Nikki, thank you so much. Huntsville, Texas, reason for signs against hitchhiking near prisons. On another note, Texas gives warnings against prison escapes with full descriptions, and we are a stand your ground state with hunters. I mean, we have lots of guns up this way too. But when you get near Ann Arbor, you start to get to the
pussies.
Yeah. The liberals.
Pussies.
And these are people that they're a danger to themselves and others.
That's why Ann Arbor has been slowly dying and looking like shit. The last time I was up there, I was a little surprised by it's kind of dirty.
Yeah.
Compared to what it used to be. It used to be really nice, and it's gone downhill a little bit.
The money is rearranging in Michigan with the cleanup of Grand Rapids. A lot more money moved over that way. Because Grand Rapids used to look like Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they spent millions cleaning up that city. And a lot of it, unless you're going to a couple of certain roads down there, most of it is really nice and looks new and pretty. And people were like, I would rather do that than live near the prison. And the college. It's weird. They put both of them in the same city.
Well, try and contain the problem, All
right, Jack.
Oh, hang on. I got a couple here. Thank you, tall person. Happy World Whiskey Day. That's it. That's the message. Well, thank you, tall person. Appreciate that. And thank you, Evolved Potato. I don't understand why anyone would pick up someone from the side of the road unless it's one of the not safe for work ones that I understand. Why would you want one of those poors in your car? It's not just that they're poor, they're usually sketchy too. They look disease riddled. The chick I picked up was a college student, very obviously, or I would have done it. And she was really hot in that, like, not safe for work kind of way. But there's no way you want to touch a hitchhiker because they're gross. They probably all scabies or something.
Tailfin says last time Ann Arbor was decent, Jim Harbaugh was playing there. That's a throwback. Did you have another one?
Nope, that
Okay.
was all for now. Thanks, guys.
On your screen right now, we have the bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. The bullshit text from Mr. James Comey. He deleted it, Jack, so we have a picture of what he shared. And it says 8647. He claims he was walking along the beach and he just happened to find this.
Yeah.
Which oddly enough is not the most unbelievable part of this story. The most unbelievable part of this story is that James Comey, the former head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, a man who's been in law enforcement his entire adult life, claims he didn't know what 86 meant.
Right.
If you're listening along, the rocks are in the shape of 8647 or 8647 or kill Trump.
Yeah, a surprising number of people on my timeline didn't seem to understand that 86 meant kill. There are several definitions of this, but I can't believe that people don't know this.
Every possible thing of 86ing is to get rid of.
Yeah. I could give you a brief history lesson on this, actually.
I actually know it, but for the audience, please.
Oh, well, there are several origin theories as to where this came from. The oldest of which is that it's a Prohibition era phrase from a place called Chumley's in New York. That when they were getting raided by the cops, they'd kick people out the back door and they'd end up on 86 Bradford Street. Now, after that, it goes into an old restaurant terminology that something's no longer on the menu. Or
86, yep.
So it's 86. We don't have it anymore, or we're getting rid of it. Then there's the Empire State Building. Elevator goes to the 86th floor, which is where people would go ride the elevator up and then jump off the observation platform. So they were 86th.
That one I've never heard.
Yeah, it's very New York specific, but I could see where that one might transfer out into the greater public. But it's usually associated with restaurants is where I've seen it be the most common. There were a few others that like apparently like it's a construction term somewhere too. But those seem to be the most common of the terms.
The term 86 is if you are getting rid of something like at a restaurant or in retail, if you're getting rid of a product. I've heard it used there. But other than that, especially if you're referring to 86ing a person.
Yeah, that usually means to get rid of.
That's mafia talk. Yeah.
It hit mafia movies, and a lot of people in like Desert Storm used it because if you go back to articles from 1991, there's a lot of military jargon saying that was 86th, meaning it was destroyed or somebody got 86th. So somewhere along the line, it either became disposing of a person, as in killing them or forcing them to go away, but we all know what that means when the mob says it. So, but it hit the mobster movies around the 90s too. So I've been hearing this phrase for like 30 years at least. And I can't believe people didn't know that that's what it meant.
The one that you didn't talk about that I have heard a bit brought up in chat right there, both Sim, Nikki, and Chris, 86 literally refers to digging a grave 8 feet out, 6 feet down, and the other one is 80 miles from town, 6 feet down, depending on...
that's a Vegas one, is
Yeah.
the 80 miles out of Vegas, 6 feet down. That's
Yep.
that was used in association with Jimmy Hoffa. But
So-
yeah, I've heard 8 feet, 6 feet. So yeah.
Yeah, the notion that the head of the FBI had never heard it that way, because he's like, I didn't realize that, so I took it down because apparently it can mean something bad. Duh.
Yeah. Oh my God. What did you think it meant, you fucking lying retard? I could guarantee you somebody like J. Edgar Hoover knew that term.
Yeah, no
Either
shit.
Comey's terrible at his job or he's full of shit.
He's a liar. But it turns out he has a book coming out, Jack.
Oh, of course he does. Is it called 8647?
No, but this gets him his name in the news.
Of course it does.
Right in time for his book to come out. Isn't it coincidental?
Yeah.
He just happens to be walking down this beach, which, by the way, he found a pro Kamala shell on the beach one time too. It's amazing.
Of course he did.
But he just happens to be walking down the beach, happens to see this, doesn't understand what it means, tweets it out, and gets his name all over the paper right before his book comes out. That is some serendipity if I've ever heard it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a monumental coincidence. Real quick, thank you, Pumpkin Trucker. In Jessup, Maryland, there's a state prison right across the street from a truck stop. If anyone escapes, good luck. Some drivers have been on the road so long, a hole is a hole. Nobody rides for free.
There you go.
Oh, man, can you imagine, like, you just broke out of jail and you're all excited. This guy's going to give you a ride. And next thing you know, he expects something in return. Uh-oh.
That whole thing has been ruined for me forever by It's Always Sunny, the episode where they get stuck in the woods and Charlie and Dennis go hitchhiking, and they don't actually hitchhike, they just find a trucker. That episode is fucking hilarious. I will never get in a big rig with anyone ever.
Oh my God!
No.
That you could split me in two. What? No, we don't want to do that. Thank you, Frank. Well, Google said it means removed. I had an argument with an aunt. I initially didn't see the pic. She said Tulsi wanted him imprisoned over a picture of shells, but not Trump with his felonies. I asked if it was really just shells. She said, yeah, clearly not. Yeah, no. I don't think she understood what was implied here.
And I don't necessarily blame her, because we've been dealing this, and what we're going to be dealing with in just a minute is the same shit. The press lies. This is how I first saw it today. Well, actually yesterday, was that James Comey they want to arrest him for seashells.
Yeah, seashells by the seashore. Say that 3 times fast, Chris Cillizzi, you douche. Oh, you know who's not a douche, though? Stormtrooper 47. Thank you very much. He says, I'm getting really nervous for some reason. Look, you're a stormtrooper. Just avoid a guy in a red shirt. You should be okay, because you two might accidentally hurt each other. Okay? It's cross-universe, multiverse shit. Don't get involved in that either. So just be careful out there, man.
I never thought of it until pitch meeting on Star Wars. The stormtroopers are notorious for not being able to hit a target.
If you had to wear one of those helmets, you won't be able to hit shit either.
At the very beginning of the original movie, Ben points out to Luke that only stormtroopers are so accurate with their shots. That's a line from, and then they can't hit shit for the rest of the series.
Well, you have to remember, some people did get shot. They just weren't the main heroes, because they have aura of hero protection, 10-foot radius. So it's a -1 to hit each of them, and when they're together, it's a +2. So you get 5 heroes together. It's +5.
No, look.
So good luck. You're not
the only time they hit anything is at the very beginning of what we now call A New Hope, when they're breaking into the ship and there's that hallway. That's the only time and even then they miss most of their fucking shots.
Well, I imagine blaster rifles are kind of hard to aim anyway, because they're firing from the hip more often than not. But They killed a
Even
bunch
the-
of Jawas. That they killed Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen off screen.
Off screen, all off screen.
Yeah, that's when their best shooting's done, is off screen.
Even the Ewok who dies isn't shot by one of them. Something falls on him, or there's an explosion.
Yeah, it's an explosion. See, I still count that as a stormtrooper win.
Real quick, thank you, Dangerous. It just means to get rid of. How could anyone think get rid of Trump means kill him? You mean the twice nearly assassinated Trump they keep calling Hitler and saying he must be stopped at all costs? Right? Hey, look, dangerous. I realize that you are Australian, but here in the United States, you know what? I can't even bullshit that one. There is no explanation that makes this okay for Comey. The one thing that is going to save him, Jack, is he didn't say kill Trump. And so he can be like, I didn't know that's what it meant. And nobody can prove that he did know that that's what he meant.
Yeah, so they know it. They just can't prove anything.
We can't prove it. Exactly.
Yeah. They're not going to do shit to him anyway. He's a former head of the FBI.
The other story I want to talk about just briefly is that the Supreme Court issued a ruling today, and it is one of the most asinine rulings I've ever read in my life.
Oh, before we get to that, I got to grab this because it relates to what we were just talking about.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, Frosted. I promise I didn't know what that meant. Chancellor Palpatine, do you really expect us to believe you stumbled on seashells that happened to spell out execute Order 66? Yes. I just want to say, rip Jodan Baker, star of Joel's last MST3K. Oh, Jodan Baker was a legend. That's a loss, man.
Okay, Jack. So the Supreme Court was hearing the way that this has been presented by different people who probably shouldn't talk about the Supreme Court because they don't know what they're talking about. And these are people on the right. But that it is that the Supreme Court shot down Trump's birthright citizenship order. That's not what happened. It also concerns a couple of people who were getting kicked out of the out of the country, and that it's been reported that they shot him down on kicking people out using the Alien Enemies Act. Not exactly either. At least those people are closer to the truth than the other ones who were mixing up several arguments. So here's what did happen. There's two guys who are suing. We assume they're guys. All we have is their initials. But let's be honest, most of the people we're seeing being kicked out are all guys. They haven't got to the women and children yet, probably because they're such a minority of the illegals who came over.
I thought they were just wiry and, their kids are slippery. Like it's like grabbing greased pigs.
These two people are arguing that their due process has been violated because they weren't given sufficient notice that they were going to be deported. The Supreme Court did rule that under the AEA, excuse me.
Don't die on stream, dude.
I just got a weird scratch down my throat. There we go. They can't remove people under the AEA for the short time. They can still remove those same people using other methods if they want to. The problem with the ruling, and Alito wrote a dissent on this that Thomas signed on to, is that none of their arguments make any sense. And if you read the opinion of the court, what you really walk away with is that they are very offended at Donald Trump, and here's why. Remember the people that got kicked out of the country before, and they're like, bring him back. And the Trump administration said, we can't. They're in another country. We can't just go get people. And the court ruled, yeah, we have no jurisdiction over those people because they're not in the country. So in order to maintain their jurisdiction, they are not allowing these people out of the country under the AEA until the AEA argument has been fully legally gone through. Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't either. Because there's the bulk of their case, this is so stupid, rests on, okay, so you have these guys who are told, hey, you got to get out of the country, and they come back and go, no, we get to stay because we need to be able to fight for our right to ruin your party. And they push it through at the last minute. If you guys saw the story a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, about how the Fifth Circuit was only given 42 minutes to decide this case, this is what it all is revolves around. And the court tries to claim that they had 12 hours and it's either 12 or 14 hours and 46 minutes, or 48 minutes, sorry, because the people knew they were going to be kicked out and they raised it, but none of this shit actually happens. And Alito goes through it line by line, pointing out that it's nonsense and that the original ruling was based on what the judge knew at the time, and that the court now claims there's new evidence. Wait for the new evidence, Jack. That shows that actually the court didn't have all the facts. Well, here's their new evidence. A couple of people who are advocates for illegals said they were told that some illegals got notices to get out of the country, or that they were being deported specifically, which to me negates the whole they weren't told, because that's the argument, is that they weren't given notice. But you can't argue that they weren't given notice and they were given notice. But there is one picture, Jack, of somebody holding a get out of the country, we're kicking you out of the country order that's not credited anywhere. Oh, it's just a picture one of them came up with and gave to the court, and now the court's like, clearly people were getting these notices.
Wow. That's fucking dumb.
The dissent on this is one of the best dissents. It is a bitch smack. He might as well have just wrote bitch at the end of every paragraph. It is unfortunate that this apparently was a 7-0 thing, because only Alito and Thomas dissented. That fucking retard Kavanaugh signed off. He wrote his own concurring opinion with it.
He's been pretty disappointing.
Thank you, Dangerous Spaces. People that are freaking out that the Secret Service questioned Comey /Ed. Was it? Yeah, it was Ed Krasenstein. He tweeted it out too, and they showed up at his house. And he's like, they came to get me. Fuck off, Ed.
Like anyway. You've never had a federal agent at your door, Ed. Come on.
Anyway, back to Dangerous. Thank you. They had no problem if a dozen armed FBI agents showed up at people's houses for praying outside Planned Parenthood. True, yeah.
Yeah, or going after Roger Stone at 6 a.m. when they could have just called him up.
Ed Krasenstein knew exactly what he was doing, and the little bitch probably cried like a little girl when they showed up. You cannot threaten the president. And if they think it might be a threat, you are going to get stopped. They're going to come to your house, or in Comey's case, let you come down to FBI headquarters to have an interview.
Well, and that's kind of their job.
Yep.
Because if they didn't go down, a lot more people would be pissed, like, why aren't you taking this seriously?
You cannot joke even about killing the president. They don't play with that shit.
You could joke, but you'll end up on a list.
Speaking of on a list, we haven't talked about it, but the Hassan thing.
What a dumb shit.
So this dumb motherfucker, Hassan Piker, Hassan Abi, Hassan the asshole. He's over there in Europe, probably banging dudes. And he comes back to the United States into O'Hare Airport, and he gets stopped, Jack.
Oh no.
And he
goes screening.
He goes on to social media and to his little podcast to claim that they were asking him things that they must have gotten from, I'm not making this up, Asmongold.
What?
The TSA is just sitting around watching Asmongold videos, and that caused them to get Hassan Piker on their radar. He says that he was there for 2 hours being interrogated. Except time is a linear thing, Jack, no matter if they want to believe in it or not.
Oh my God, you're such a timist, you bigot.
And airport travel times and stuff are recorded very precisely. Hassan Piker landed at 3:22 p.m. local time. For those of you who don't know, O'Hare's in Chicago. That is what, Central Time, right?
Yeah, it'd be Central.
It's Central. So Eastern Time, it was at 4:22, my birthday. Go me.
I'm going to need a flow chart. This is getting complicated.
He lands at 4:22. You with me?
No, it's confusing. Oh, God.
At 5:30, he tweets out, "It's okay, I'm out now." So at best,
Oh, we're so proud of you for admitting the truth that you're gay.
at best, if they drug him off the plane immediately and kept him the entire time, it was 1 hour and 8 minutes. The truth of the matter is, he came back over and we have random screenings. This shit happens to people every fucking day.
Yep.
But in Hassan's world, no. And then he goes in line. Yeah, they were asking me about Trump, and they asked me about the guy I had on my podcast, the Houthi. They asked me about all the bullshit. They didn't have time.
If they got into all of that, it wouldn't have been just a like catch and release. You'd have been taken somewhere off property.
Yeah, no shit. You were giving material support to a fucking terrorist.
Yeah, he'd have been taken to an FBI office or something like that. This was just, I guarantee you, this was not anything like what he described.
No.
He's blowing it way out of proportion. This was just TSA doing additional screening. Like they wanted to fondle his balls some more or something. And they're like, oh, let's pick this sketchy looking motherfucker out who has a tiny head and big shoulders. So they took him in the back room and asked him where he's going, how long he was gone, what was his intentions, that sort of thing. Is he a citizen? All that crap. And they probably double checked all the information on his passport. And he's probably over there like, is this because I interviewed that Houthi? And they're like, what? But,
yeah,
let's circle back to that.
They didn't look. The one thing that I will maybe give Hassan a little thing that he was targeted is that this Middle Eastern looking dude just came from Paris. And if I'm TSA, that worries me a little bit.
Yeah. He's got a clearly Middle Eastern name coming from Paris. What was he doing over there for how long? That sort of thing.
And here's the thing. I'm okay with that. I am okay with profiling on our planes because it wasn't a black guy who rammed planes into buildings. It wasn't a white guy. It wasn't any Asian outside of the British definition when they're trying to cover for Muslim rapists. It was Muslims, and that's who we should be checking.
Yeah. Real quick. Thank you, Keldrick. The FBI's job is to go down. They really are government whores. Yeah. Well, they are whores for whoever's in charge. By the way, we have a birthday for Nicholas.
Nicholas, it's your birthday. 4. And around here, we do this. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nicholas. Happy birthday
to you.
4 years old today. Happy birthday, big guy. Hope you have a great one. I really, really do. 4, Jack. Man, I don't even. God, I do have some memories from when I was 4. God, that was a lifetime ago.
Well, it was, 40 some years ago. So yeah.
It was not long after that I broke the knuckle in my pinky.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I cracked it right where it meets the hand. As I'm learning to write, so at school in kindergarten, I'm having to write with my left hand. And it looked as bad as that might sound. Anyhow, let's move on to the main course. And I'm just gonna warn you guys, the audio on this is trash, Jack. Let me make sure. Some of it is hard to hear, some of it is way too loud. The folks at Axios apparently don't know how to work audio equipment, and I was too lazy to do it. But we are finally hearing some, not all, but I was really looking forward to the ball story. I really was.
You can't tell me there isn't a video recording of this. There's no fucking way. Because they almost always do video recordings now, not just audio. They do both.
With the way this was done, I can believe there's no video, affording some protections to Biden. This wasn't done in an interrogation room. They pulled him into a cushy office to ask him questions.
He looks like Walter right there.
He really does. That's why I've used Walter as our Biden fill-in on many thumbnails.
I know, and it's funny every time. Real quick, thank you, Vault Potato. We also don't know if Hassan is on a watch list. He's a known terror supporter who hates America. He probably should be targeted for surveillance. That would not surprise me if he's on some kind of watch list.
I don't think he is, because if he was on a watch list, he'd have been there for hours.
You would think so, but
yeah.
I didn't say the government was competent or that they don't worship the Muslims now. Because I mean, look at what's happening in the UK and France, where they're just bending over to suck everyone off because they hate the natives so much.
Or Mr. Magoo. No, I don't think he looks as much like Mr. Magoo as he does. If you've seen Walter, he looks just like fucking Walter. Anyhow, this is broke up into 4 different videos, Jack, or maybe 5. I can't remember. They didn't just release the whole thing. And Axios, for the record, go fuck yourself. This belongs to me, not you. My taxes paid for this shit. This belongs to all of us, Jack.
Yeah, it's a government recording.
Yep. And fuck the Justice Department for just giving it to Axios. This whole thing needs to be released, not just little clips of it.
Yep. It's in the public interest. They
Yep.
should be covering it up. It's not like he's talking about Bigfoot secrets or anything. Or is he?
Now, I will say this. I think there are still clearly people in the Justice Department who have, let's call it, political persuasions. Because it shouldn't be lost on anybody that Axios, where Mr. Thompson, who helped write the book with Jake Tapper, works, got this audio first.
What? You're a conspiracy theorist, monkey.
Right as this book where the press is like, we were lied to about how bad he is coming out.
Are you trying to tell me that the media, of all people, would rewrite the narrative of history? Monkey.
Yeah. I think all of this should be released, but the timing of this, I do believe, is to help the media to clear up their fucking horrible image that they have rightfully earned.
Yeah. Well, it's to protect the integrity of their agent provocateurs, because the government basically gives them shit to leak all the time, and they want to protect that. So they have to maintain some kind of credibility.
Monk says exactly what I was thinking. The timing of it is what convinces me of that, and that it goes to Axios. This was pushed out by, what is his name? It's Alex Thompson.
Yeah.
He's the one that tweets out, oh, the videos are out there. Give me a fucking break. Come on, man.
It's very convenient for your book sales.
And for the record, we don't know that Justice is the one that released this, because all they said is they got a hold of the tape. Somebody who worked at Justice at one time had it and gave it away.
Either that or Kash Patel has a lot of leaks in his boat there over at the FBI.
Which also wouldn't surprise me, because we know how fucking disgusting that group is.
Yep.
Anyway, so let's get to the first one. This one, Biden, her interview. Biden jokes, I'm a young man.
On the topic of cooperation, as federal prosecutors, we do assess cooperation at the end.
For the record, for anybody who doesn't know, this was in regards to the documents that Biden had that he shouldn't have had. This was over the classified documents that were in his garage next to his little bullshit. I wish I had a bigger Winky car.
Yeah. That was an ugly car, too.
I like the Corvette, but Biden has kind of ruined it for me.
I don't know, man. That one didn't look very good. I don't mind Corvettes, generally speaking, but
wasn't it a 65?
Yeah, just
very pretty car. Just with Walter in it, it's just like, oh man, now it looks retarded. Anyway,
of an investigation. Obviously, your willingness to sit for this interview today and tomorrow and answer our questions is part of that cooperation.
He shouldn't have been allowed to cooperate. This should have been a come down or we're going to subpoena you for it. I get what the guy's going for, and they do this with criminals who come in. Thank you so much for cooperating. They don't cooperate. They fucking lie the whole time they're there.
Yeah, but you got to fluff the balls a little bit just in case. So you can be like, oh, I really appreciate you're building this like weird trust thing where they could try and manipulate you. It's for anybody who has a brain cell, it's pretty obvious what they're doing. It's lulling you into a false sense of security.
I've watched a lot of interrogation videos just as part of the. I don't like a lot of interrogation videos. I can't watch like Jim Can't Swim in those.
Oh, yeah.
But as part of other, let's call it what is murder porn that I watch, they do occasionally have those things. I do not understand how these cops can be so personable to these folks. I know it's part of their job. It's just another reason I could never be a cop. Because I'd be smacking people. You're fucking lying to me. Stop fucking. Yeah. Why are you fucking lying?
I'd have been a good cop in the 30s when you could get the rubber hose out and start whacking them on the bottom of the feet.
I'd have made a great cop 60 years ago.
Yeah, closing out lots of confessions. Let me tell you, I solve all my cases because somebody confesses every time. But you see, that's why I'm not a cop, because I couldn't.
Exactly. I know my limitations.
Yeah, and a lot of times they use the most basic psychology on these guys. Like, you'll feel better if you just tell us what really happened.
Yes.
Like, and I'm like, does that really work? And then the guy starts blabbing. I'm like, you're fucking dumb, dude. What are you doing? Why are you even talking to the cops? Lawyer up, man.
Yeah, I saw this one lady who asked, should I get a lawyer? And the guy goes, that's up to you. And she goes, well, I'm not talking anymore until I get a lawyer. And he's like, all right. And then the bitch wouldn't stop talking.
Yep.
And the cop is like, I'm not asking you any questions. I can't ask you questions. And you go, but here's what happened. Like, I'm not asking.
Yeah, they even get you to sign a waiver in most states that you've waived your Miranda rights so that you don't have to have a lawyer for them to interrogate you. Why the fuck are you signing that, idiot? You might as well just say, send me to jail.
Well, the thing is, they didn't question her at all. So if they do question, then that can all be thrown out because you violated their rights.
Yep.
But this cop was really smart. He's just like, I'm not asking you shit. And this bitch, she's like, no, give me a bigger shovel. I'm not done yet.
Some people just do not know when to stop talking.
All right.
It's obviously very important to answer our questions truthfully. And we appreciate very much your willingness. We hope that you will be able to, that you'll put forth your best efforts in really trying to get your best recollection in response to the questions we ask, because I acknowledge that some of the questions we are asking related to events that happened years ago.
I just can't believe the FBI asks most of their questions this way. Look, we realize you probably don't remember it. My problem with it, Jack, is that I think even with her doing the investigation and everything on this, that they were just kids' gloves with Biden.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're giving him an out right there. They're saying, look, you probably don't even remember. So you can just say, I don't remember. And they're like, oh, okay.
I'm a young man, so it's not a problem.
Okay, great. Glad to hear.
Even that part, I'm a young man, so it's not a problem, sounded like an old dude who doesn't know where he fucking is.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that a joke or is he being serious?
That one is not that important. It's just one of those. It's silly. Biden calling himself a young man. Remember, Herr said that they shouldn't go forward with prosecution because Biden would come off as a sympathetic old man, and it would be hard to find a jury who would hold him to account. And the media came out, look, they're not pressing charges. By the way, that shit, the reason that they said they're not pressing charges is bullshit. He's totally cogent. That's become one of my new favorite words since Morning Joe clearly doesn't know what cogent means. But the whole thing was they aren't prosecuting him. See, he didn't do nothing wrong. But by the way, the reason they're not prosecuting him, total bullshit. We read the transcript of this has already been out, and the transcript was cleaned up. They get rid of a lot of the ums and the long pauses and shit that happen in here, which just makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
But it's not like it wasn't hard to tell that he was guilty. Playing these videos actually does help the Herr folk, that the people that were involved in the Herr investigation. Because I agree I don't think they could have got this guy convicted. Not if he went up there and spoke at all, because people were like, he doesn't know where he's at. Am I wrong on that?
No.
This doesn't make him sympathetic, but to a jury, you play that shit up? Absolutely, it would have. All right, Biden describes Mongolia trip in wide-ranging tangent.
You pronounce that wrong. I hate to correct you.
Oh, Mongolia.
Mongolia.
I knew where you were going. I got to make sure I'm on
my shitty wall.
Shitty walk. All right.
You know, I went to Mongolia and great pictures. I unfortunately embarrassed the hell out of the leader of Mongolia there.
For the record, if you're listening along and you're having any trouble, there are subtitles on it down in the lower right of the screen. Just thought I'd bring that up because there are going to be some that are kind of hard to hear, Jack. He embarrassed the hell out of the leader of Mongolia. Did you do that, or did you embarrass the hell out of the United States?
Little from column A, little from column B.
Show they were doing what they would do at the time of the invasion of the Mongols into Europe in the 800s. And so we're out in the middle of nowhere, and you're looking up on the hill, and you see this tiny line. Now it's a 20-mile horse race with all these kids under the age of 16 on bareback racing to come down. And, you know, they're sumo wrestlers and doing everything they do.
Did he say bareback racing?
Bareback racing down a hill with sumo wrestlers.
Doing everything they do. I don't know what kind of weird orgy this was, but I mean, I don't think I would go, even with an invite. That is intriguing. They'll be downhill barebacking. Some sumos doing whatever they do. Doing everything they do. So wrestling, eating, making love with sweet Asians. I don't know.
Keldrick, thank you. He didn't commit any crimes, but how dare you say he's not competent enough to commit crimes? Exactly.
So bareback sumo racing. Yes, Faithless. I'm assuming it's a race to finish, if you know what I'm saying.
Downhill.
You aim down.
That part's important to me because
it's like Downward Dog, but with a hill.
If I was the leader of Mongolia and he was telling me about downhill sumo bareback racing, I probably would be embarrassed for him too.
It's a toss-up between laughing and cringing. Like, what the fuck is he on about?
Yeah, that would give secondhand cringe, definitely. All right.
And so they walked over and they had a target, big bales of hay 100 yards away. And these guerrillas were, taking shots. And I think.
Is this
Am I
like sniper fire thing in Bosnia?
Am I the only one who thinks that they spelled gorilla wrong in the chat there, that he meant G-O-R?
I think that there were large apes doing shots of whiskey with the sumos who had just finished racing. Or maybe a talking ape with a French beret, like from DC Comics, and talking about his actual guerrilla tactics, because he's part of the resistance.
Faithless asks, what is the point of this tangent? There isn't one. He's an old man rambling.
It's cute. You think there's a point.
Monkey, what did you do? What did I do now?
Although I would watch this movie. Like, you fly over to Mongolia and you get separated from your group and you would get lost in the countryside and you come across these people and you think you're going to get help, but they're really just doing like naked bareback racing downhill, like wheelbarrow style. And you're like, wait a minute, he's got his wiener in that dude's butt. And then there's a bunch of sumo wrestlers doing everything they do. And then you're shot at by gorillas with machine guns. And they're like, it turns Planet of the Apes really fast. I would watch this movie. It's going to be crazy with a lot of weird dude on dude stuff that I don't want. But it's the type of crazy shenanigans that would make for an interesting story.
Where are the gorillas practicing their firing into hay bales that a race of sumo wrestlers could just happen upon them?
Well, look, Monkey, Mongolia is a big place, but there's probably not a lot of places to have a good firing range. See, and the hay bales are only in the countryside. And what do you need for a race? You need some countryside. So, they're racing by the sumos with their raw dogging and all the other things they do. And they come across some monkeys with guns. I don't know. It's going to be weird, but I'll allow it.
This man had the nuclear codes.
Yes, he did for 4 years. And he may have accidentally had them during the Obama administration. I don't know what he gets up to.
I need to stop and just point out something I thought about earlier today. Something we missed the other day when we were talking about Jake Tapper's book.
Oh, yeah?
All of these motherfuckers in the media are now out there like, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We did. You know what? Not one of them is asking.
Why are they so retarded?
Who was in charge?
Oh, they're never going to ask that.
Who was making? Shouldn't that be the follow-up if you were lied to? Shouldn't your okay? Wait, look, who actually was running things?
Did they really care? I mean, it was somebody from Obama's team, so that's all they care about.
I would, you know what I mean? Especially if I'm trying to repair my reputation, I would be doggedly pursuing who the fuck perpetrated this lie on me.
Susan Rice.
Thank you, Frank Hubbard. Bareback horse racing. No. Sumo bareback horse racing. Downhill. Those poor horses. Did they have Clydesdales out there?
Are we sure they were on horses?
I don't know where the sumos were. He's kind of vague on that.
It sounded more like a foot race of some kind to me.
I don't. Didn't he say on horseback though?
No, he said bareback.
Well, bareback would be on a horse.
Theoretically, but there's another kind of bareback that people do.
There is. Oh, yeah. I didn't go that place. I was laughing at the notion of a sumo wrestler bareback riding a horse.
That's why I said there's a dude in front of him like a wheelbarrow. They're, doing stuff. Raw racing.
Sumo riding. Yeah. Horses love when 350-pound men climb up on them.
Yeah, and they're like, oh.
And sumo wrestlers, easy time getting up on a horse.
Yeah, I mean, E Honda never had a problem jumping in Street Fighter 2. It didn't happen. He was master at leaping.
Okay.
And his equestrian skills were beyond reproach.
Back that up.
I think, I don't know if it's embarrassed me or to make a point, but they handed the bow and arrow. I'm not a bad archer. But the only problem they were if I could pull it back, so I and pure luck.
I just realized when he said the guerrillas were firing into bales of hay, he meant with bow and arrow. What guerrilla fighters out there are fighting with bows and arrows?
The Mongolian kind? I don't know. He's just making shit up. He's fucking Baron Munchausen.
Was he hanging out with Attila the Hun and shit?
Yes. I think he went to like a Mongolian Renaissance fair and didn't know it.
All right.
They handed me the bow and arrow, and of course I hit the target because amazing.
And then the outhouse blew up, just like in Dukes of Hazzard. Oh my God. All right. Not gonna lie, whatever story's playing in his head sounds pretty wild. It really fucking does.
I'm telling you, it'd make a great movie.
All right, let's back this up because who in their right fucking mind hands this man a weapon
of any kind?
I wouldn't let him have safety scissors.
Right.
Jeez, okay. But apparently the leader of Mongolia is handing him a bow and arrow, and he's pretty good shot with a bow and arrow, Jack.
Hey man, some people don't believe in safeties. That's just the way it is.
Okay, does anybody believe that Joe Biden has an extensive history firing a bow and arrow?
I don't think this man knows the word archery, much less the knowledge of how to do it.
No, you know what it is? There was that time when he was trying to rescue Maid Marian. And so he entered an archery contest that the prince was having.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he had to wear a disguise.
Yep.
That makes more sense now.
And then Baloo was over there in a dress.
Yeah, thankfully, because he's got that airplane, so they could fly right out of there. Tailspin, woohoo! Thank you, Keldrick. He's just reliving the days of his youth in his Puerto Rican neighborhood where he learned black values. Yes, and archery skills, probably in Boy Scouts or from a Native American who cried at all the trash that was around.
For the record, firing a bow and arrow, modern bow and arrows are not hard to do.
No, not a compound bow. You get like an old style long bow. Good luck. You better have some good arm strength.
Yeah, a long bow or even a short bow takes a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for here? Skill.
Yeah, you got to be way better at it. I did watch a video the other day of this chick dressed up kind of like Katniss, and she pulled a bow back and let an arrow loose, and then she goes, "Ow!" And they slow it down, and the wire hit her boob.
Oh,
like dragged right across her boob. She had fairly large boobs, so it had to have hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they sell those guards for your forearm, because if that fucking string hits your forearm, it fucking hurts.
Ladies, get some sports bras before you go shooting. Okay?
Wear a breastplate. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so he just got the bow and arrow. He's not going to tell us he hit a bullseye with a bow.
He hit the target, monkey. What do you think? I'm the best archer in the world.
Bow and arrow. I'm not a bad archer. But the only problem they were if I could pull it back, so and pure luck, I hit the goddamn target. I really did. Bales of hay, there were like 20 bales of hay with a big target in the middle of the bale. And so I didn't mean anything by it. I turned the primary hand it to him. The poor son of a bitch couldn't pull it back.
I'm stronger than a Mongolian.
Wow.
Then I arm wrestled a polar bear for Krypton. What?
I don't even know what to make of that one.
The dude is Baron Munchausen. He can't help but lie. He tells these crazy, exaggerated stories that are clearly bullshit, easily proven to be bullshit. There would be video of this man shooting a bow and arrow in Mongolia.
Yeah. Now, this one is the one I've heard a portion of. I have not listened to all of it. I saved most of it for here, but it's not like we didn't know this stuff from the release of the transcript. But this one is just fucking insane. The first two so far, Jack, I'm a young man. Hey, he's telling another bullshit story like when he saved Martin Luther King from the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, he's being asked about time frames and what happened with the documents. Real quick, thank you so much, Dangerous. Harambe was a bad dude, and he ran with a bunch of bad boys, so I grabbed my bow and arrow. By the way, we've all heard Joe speak. I assumed he went back to Mongolia because he is clearly a genuine Mongol.
Mongoloids are different from Mongols.
Sorry,
Just
it
throwing
says
that out
Mong.
there.
Mong. My bad.
Yeah, there's a difference. So I feel bad for the Mongolians because man, did they get a bad rap with that one.
Anybody? Okay, look, I'm a decent archer, but I accidentally hit the target. That doesn't even make any goddamn sense.
Well, he accidentally hit the bullseye and showed everybody up, Monkey. I know he's downplaying it now, but we all know he split the arrows, all of them that were on that bale. Hey, that's how good he is.
I need somebody to find out when this trip happened and how old the leader of Mongolia was at the time.
Be willing to bet that when this happened, if you went back and asked the leader of Mongolia, he'd be like, yeah, he grabbed a bow and arrow from a random table and accidentally shot a guy.
Yeah.
We call him One-Eye Biden now.
All right. Now, like I said, this one is one of the ones where if he got up there on the stand and this happened, they're not going to convict this guy.
So during this time, we were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer failure shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Now, this relates to how the documents were originally found, Jack. The Penn Institute, they moved the documents, and that's how they supposedly got to his house. The problem being, he shouldn't have had those documents in the first place.
Yep. The Penn Institute definitely should not have had them.
Yeah, he had no right to them, and he was not keeping them secure. Again, I think most of the classified shit that we have shouldn't be classified, but we're dealing with the laws that he sent his Justice Department after Trump over.
Yep.
So fuck him. But here we go.
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying.
Everybody remember when Bo died? He just gave us 2 dates, Jack. 2017, 2018. This is when my son was deployed or dying. His son was deployed in what, 2004?
That sounds right. It was a long time ago.
He died in May of 2015. He was in Iraq dying at the time, and
or those burn pits.
So this is why I said they put this man on the stand and he tells this story. Nobody's going to convict him.
Yeah.
Her was right about that.
And so it was.
Listen to that.
And by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period.
Nobody ever encouraged you to run.
Well, what would that have to do with anything? They're asking about documents in 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
And he's like, there were a lot of senators telling me to run.
The 2017, 2018 is when the question is, where were you keeping those documents? And his answer so far has been about his son deployed or dying 2 years after he died. And then he switches to, when I got out of the Senate, which, by the way, was 2009, they were telling me I should be running.
Well, you see, Monkey, this all comes back to the curse of Uncle Bozy. You see, back in 1983, I think it was, maybe 1980, Biden was hanging around with Adrienne Barbeau at this lighthouse where she was a DJ, and this mysterious fog rolled in. And it turned out that it was Uncle Bozy, victim of cannibals, with the great Biden curse. See, Uncle Bozy had stolen gold, and he wanted it back. They stole his gold, and he was after it. And they're like, they ate my flesh, but my bones will be coated in gold. And that's how Bo got brain cancer, because Uncle Bozy's ghost visited him in Iraq. And he's like coming up out of the burn pits. He's like, where's my gold? It's just, they defeated that fog in the 80s, but they couldn't save Bo. You're welcome.
Here's my problem with this. The media wants us to believe that they didn't know there was anything wrong with this guy. But what he has answered so far to that question, even if you take out the pauses and the makes no goddamn sense. And we knew this shit, Jack. The transcript was out there. No, we just didn't know. When he said his son was either dead or deployed 10 years after he got back home from Iraq and 2 years after he died, that should have been a hint.
You know, you would think. I like my version better.
Except the president. I'm not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I may run for office again. If I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though?
Here's the thing. That part doesn't matter either. Even if you were planning on running for president again, you do not have the authority to have these classified documents. You don't get to go, well, I might get the job someday, so therefore I could have them. He kept this shit so that he could have a ghostwriter write his book for him. And he shared this stuff with the ghostwriter, which, by the way, is a felony.
Yeah, you're not supposed to give Johnny Blaze anything. That dude's a felon.
This motherfucker was absolutely guilty. And he's clearly demented. And our press was like, he's so great. Please understand that the reason I'm harping on this is because I hate our press, and I cannot tell you how much I hate them. And it bothers me that there's not strong enough words for how much I hate them for the shit they pull.
Yeah. Two things. One, Hypnagogic Monk tweeted out a series of photographs from the Obama White House archives that does have him in Mongolia. It does look like a Ren Fest. There's a lot of people in traditional outfits, and Biden is drawing a bow back in the photo.
But can we see the leader of Mongolia? Or do we know how?
He's the younger guy. He looks like he's about 40. I'll drop the link in the side chat for you. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Y'all laughed at me, but I found the tweet, damn it. I DM'd it to you, Jack. I'm going to leak it to the press in the morning. Uh-oh. Frosted.
It's just one that says Order 66.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. So this is the President Joe Biden visits Mongolia. Oh, sorry. Vice President Joe Biden visits Mongolia.
Yeah, this was in 2011.
Wait. All right. I guess I got to bring this on the screen for us. Wow. Because those are not sumo wrestlers, Joe.
Well, Joe is a cultural Neanderthal, so he probably wouldn't know a sumo wrestler from
his
Jet
ass?
Li or Sammo Hung.
Sorry, guys. I need to do that. There we go. Just so I can see my screens properly.
Yeah, I don't expect him to know because he's an idiot and a liar. And he also said that, he's going to look at the Mongolians and think these are poor people. So he thought they were black.
All right, so here he is. Is that Trudeau with him?
I don't think so. I think that's an Asian man.
No, that says Mongolian Prime Minister, whatever. Okay, of the two of those, who do you think would have trouble pulling back a bow?
I think that answer is fairly self-evident.
I wish I could blow these up bigger, but every time I click on them, it just takes me to the next picture. So anyway, here's our sumo wrestlers.
Those are just traditional Mongolian wrestlers. Like, they're obviously doing some sort of like masculinity thing where they wrestle.
I feel like he should be getting shit for being racist for just kind of mixing up his Asians.
Yeah, I do too. Look, first of all, I dig their outfits. The traditional Mongolian outfits are pretty cool because they look like, fucking Middle Ages farmers, because that's what they were.
But I don't know why they got leg warmers on their arms.
It's probably something to do with the tradition of how they wrestle. I don't know.
We gotta get physical.
Yeah, they're just really big into aerobicide.
All right, that's just some people. Yeah, look at this young man. Maybe it's because he's Asian. He's too weak to pull back a bow, I guess.
No, Asians have been using bows for 1,000 years or more.
Look, I am trying to give Joe the benefit of the doubt that
in the one photo where they're putting hats on, the dude looks kind of like Jet Li.
He does.
So I would say that Prime Minister Jet Li has a better chance of drawing a bow, probably with his toes, than Joe Biden would. Look, we're all proud of Joe for pulling the thing back, but he probably dropped the arrow because there's no picture of the target.
All right, so where is it where he's actually pulling the bow back? There
Right
it
there,
is.
yeah.
The prime minister standing right next to him. Joe could pull back this longbow, which, by the way, doesn't look like he had to pull it back very far. And he's aimed way up in the air.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to shoot it like he would a European bow, and it's not the same thing. He's not on horseback either, so I don't think he knows what he's doing here.
I wish we had a picture of the prime minister pulling the bow back, because I bet you that exists.
It looks like the prime minister did probably take a shot too, but
yeah,
he's probably done 100 of these ceremonial things.
But remember, according to Joe, the prime minister couldn't even pull the bow back.
Yeah, I'm not buying that for a fucking second.
Me neither. No. Is that a longbow? It's a version of a longbow. It's got. I've never seen a bow quite like that, where it's got the elongated end parts.
Is it a recurve bow? I don't remember. We did a bunch of them in Boy Scouts, so that we learned all the difference between the different types of bows. Like a European longbow is like 5 foot tall.
It's a composite, is what Evolved is saying. All right. Yeah, I've never seen that one. I've seen recurves, I've seen compound, I've seen long and short bows. That one with that extra piece on the end, I've never seen it. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, it's for being mounted, I think. Yeah. Thank you, Bullwinkle, for using it on horseback. Yeah. So, look, Biden's a fucking retard. He's a cultural imbecile. He thought sumo wrestlers were in Mongolia. I don't know how they got there. Maybe they were abducted by the Mongolians. Like, you shall amuse us now. But I like my theory about Boski.
All right. Back to Walter the Tard. I actually feel kind of bad calling him Walter now. Not for him, but for Walter.
Yeah, because Walter's got all his faculties.
What was happening, though, when Bo died,
May
30th, 2015. 2015 he died? 2015. I think it's 2015.
Yeah, I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that,
You know the problem here? And this is something he did so often. He used his dead son as a shield for everything.
Yep.
That was his ultimate get out of jail free card. My son died. And it's tragic that Bo died. I mean, the man, he died of brain cancer. That's a fucked up way to go.
That's a horrible way to go.
And I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but I also wouldn't wish that person to have a father who used them to get out of trouble for the rest of his fucking life because he's a degenerate shitbag.
Well, look, the dead wife scenario only lasted for 30 years, so he figured he could milk Bo's death for a while.
Oh,
Because he was standing on her grave for 30 years before that, at least. I mean, he took photos in the hospital the day she died, so...
got to get those selfies.
Yeah, piece of shit. I'm going to have a press conference.
and Trump gets elected in November of 2016. All right. So
Now, here's the thing. This is part that we read from the transcripts on the show, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
It
Which was
does.
hilarious.
And it just does sound so much worse coming from him.
It does. We were being silly about it, but
Yeah.
dear God, this is actually almost tragic. But I mean, he's a piece of shit. But the way he's talking, his memory was well gone by this point.
Egg asked if we can sing for his mom, Nikki. Is she hot? Sorry, that is so rude.
Said sing, not dance.
Nikki, this one is for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nikki. Happy birthday to you. Are you hot? No, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great one, sweetie. I really, really do. I'm not always a perv, but you know, I like older women, Jack. What can I say? Anyway, speaking of older women, let's get back to Joe here.
I like wrinkles. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Gross.
why not 2017?
That's when you left office in January of 2017.
Okay. But that's
Which, by the way, at that point, he still shouldn't have had those documents.
Yep.
Even as vice president, he shouldn't have had those documents. Some of those were from his time in the Senate, and he wasn't supposed to keep them then either.
Yeah, it says a lot about their file management that he had these and nobody apparently knew.
Yeah. Nobody cared. Nobody sent him things going, hey, could you bring those back? We have the Presidential Records Act we got to comply with. But suddenly with Trump, man, oh boy, did they know. This motherfucker was stealing shit for decades.
that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right,
January.
right, correct.
Okay, yeah. And in 2017.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got to stop right there. This is not something you should have to explain to the sitting president of the United States. You should not have to explain, yeah, you're right, sir. January of 2017 is when he got sworn in and you left. This should have been a huge red flag for the press. The guy doesn't even know when the president is sworn in.
He sort of starts meandering off into other things too, like 2017. That was the first year Trump was sworn in. This one time at Camp David, I stuffed a flute up a chick's pussy.
I just want to reiterate that 2.5 minutes ago he was asked what he was doing with the documents at this time, and somehow we got to Mongolian archery.
Which was like 6 years earlier. That was 2011.
And now he's trying to explain when the transfer of power happened. All right.
Well,
and
he couldn't remember when his son died. That's really bad.
At least the transfer of power part might relate to the question.
Yeah, I suppose, but
I'm-
it's a straightforward question.
I'm betting it doesn't, but it could. That's why I have not listened to the rest of this. I only listened to the first part where he gets to Bo dying. I don't remember how this answer turns out from here, so I'm not saying he's going to relate it to the question. I'm just saying at least he's in the right year now. Spruce Goose, thank you so much. He looks more like he looks more like Ahmed now. Yes, Ahmed the dead terrorist. Yes, indeed. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Bo had passed, and this is personal.
I get that your son died, and I'm sure that's horrible, but that has nothing to do with what you were doing with documents at the time.
Yeah, what? How is this personal? You're the one bringing him up.
And if you were that distraught over your son's death, which I could understand, then you should have stepped down. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
And again, you had documents you shouldn't even have had at that time. Even as
Yep.
vice president,
For
you shouldn't have had them.
The genesis of the book and the title "Promise Me, Dad" was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left.
His left arm was a prostitute abusing drug addict.
Yeah, that's the bad arm. Does the bad stuff. Like slapping hoes and grabbing chicks and saying, "You mean nothing to me." I thought he was going back to the book of Genesis there for a second.
I just want to be perfectly clear here. I'm not saying the man didn't love his son, but his love for Bo grew exponentially when Bo died.
Well, I think everybody in his life is a degree of usability to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he likes you as much as he can use you at the moment.
How much have you ever heard him talk about Ashley?
I don't think I've ever heard him talk about Ashley.
Until people bring up what a degenerate scumbag he is, how much do you hear him talk about Hunter?
Not very much.
Even when Trump brings up Hunter during the debate, Biden, this is in the 2016 debate, Biden like, how dare, my son was a great man. He was in the military. You don't besmirch. He confused Bo and Hunter in that situation.
Yeah, it's because Bo was clearly his favorite.
No, see, I disagree. I don't think he had a favorite. I think you were closer when you said the people in his life are who he can use.
Yeah,
he didn't give this much of a shit about Bo until Bo was dead, and suddenly he had a campaign talking point.
No, then Bo was his favorite. Because now he can use him.
Dead Bo is his favorite.
Yeah, same thing. You know,
how many times? Even going back to before Bo dies, when he's using his dead wife, how much did he talk about his dead daughter?
I don't think I ever really heard him like in passing mention her occasionally, but never really talked about her.
No,
because she wasn't useful to him. Just like he blamed the truck driver that hit his wife and said the guy was drunk.
Yeah,
because that was useful to him, even though it's a total fucking lie.
Hunter's the smartest man he knows. Yeah, he did say that.
Well, he lives in Washington, D.C. I mean, the bar is pretty low.
And this is Biden, so everybody else is just made up anyway.
Yeah.
These guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Bo, I used to go home on the train.
Oh, God, he's telling the train story.
And the period that I was still in the Senate. Anyway.
Anybody remember the question? Because now I had to go home on the train to my kids because of my dead wife. That's the story he was starting to tell there again. Because he used to love telling that I go home every night to my kids. Well, good for you, Joe. Who was raising him while you were working?
Well, he had an onion on his belt, which was a fashion at the time.
Frosted, thank you. My theory, Joe's secretary, an ent named Pudding Beard. Oh, this dude, my God. All right. Do they bring the question back around and get an answer?
There was not pressure. Bo knew how much I adored him.
This sounds like the rumblings of somebody drunk at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
No,
my
Bo
kids
knew.
know I love them, man. I miss them so much. My wife won't let me see them. You're still married, dude. The kids are 30s.
Motherfucker.
And this sounds so. Everybody knew how close we were. There was not anybody in the world who wondered whether or not. Anyway. And so.
Sir, I'm wondering if this is a good time to take a break. Briefly.
No.
Yes. The man has clearly lost his fucking mind.
Yeah, he got mentioning Bo, which locked him into thinking about Bo, and he lost all concept of what the question fucking was. And he's not going to go back and ask because that's what old people at dementia do. They're too embarrassed to admit they don't know what they're supposed to be talking about.
That says Joe's secretly an ent named Pudding Beard. My bad. Look, if you want me to read it, put it in caps. Thank you, Bullwinkle. What year did Biden have a stroke that no one recorded? That we know of, he's never had a stroke. He's had several aneurysms, though.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Stroke, I don't think he's ever had an actual stroke or that's been reported. He's had, what, 2 or 3 aneurysms?
Well, I mean, he did shower with his daughter a bunch of times. I'm wondering if there
Fair.
was strokes there.
Yeah. Anyway, that's, well.
No, let me just keep going to get it done.
Yeah, that was a good decision, Joe. I do wonder if because I don't remember the timeline of it from when we watched it before, but or read it. I do wonder if the nut story comes before or after this. Because that's a much more interesting story than I was shooting bow and arrows with sumo wrestlers.
Yeah, that poor fireman story. Oh my God, that was horrifying.
Okay. Biden acknowledges keeping classified Afghanistan docs for posterity's sake. If only we had, like, I don't know, a national record keeping, like an archive. You know what I mean? That we should probably get one of those.
Maybe. I mean, we could consider it, but seems like that just might produce a lot of material that will make people look bad.
Yeah. All right.
You know how much politicians hate to look bad.
These fucking people.
Was this memo, Mr. President, was this something that you consciously kept after your term as vice president? Is this something that you wanted to hold on to?
I don't recall. Did I have this? Was this in my possession, this memo?
Yes, and to give you some context for this, Mr. President, it was found in the front of this notebook that's on the first page, and the notebook was found in the library at the Lake House.
Real quick, thank you so much, Dangerous. You left in January 2017, but that's when Trump gets sworn in. Yes, dipshit. That's why you had to leave as VP, because there was a new admin coming in. It's a fucking miracle you guys weren't invaded.
I keep saying it, man. I keep saying it. If the Chinese suspected this, I'm shocked. They didn't just come down from Canada and just start taking shit over.
Thank you, Evolved. If you want Monkey to read it, put it in caps. It is the way to go. Screwed with the caps and stuff in that thing. All right. Oh yeah. So did you this memo, you had it? Why do you have? Did I have it? Yes, sir. That's why we're asking you about it, sir.
This memo was very sentimental to me.
Now, it kind of gives away the end here, but he says Biden acknowledges keeping the classified Afghan document for posterity's sake. At the beginning of this question, he doesn't even understand or remember having it.
Oh, I think that was supposed to be posterior because he was
Maybe.
sitting on it and evened out the cushion on his chair so that his butt groove was still there.
The table was wobbly. I kept it for the wobbly table. How do you go from I don't know if I even had it to, oh yeah, I kept it for posterity? Well, let's find out how we get there.
In one of the drawers.
I don't recall how it got back. I mean, I don't recall how it got back in the book because I sent it to the president. I gave it to the president. And this looks like the original. I don't think maybe there's a copy made, but I don't think so.
It was faxed, just to give you.
Oh,
some
okay, that's
context.
why.
Yeah.
All right, now I got it. I wasn't sure.
You shouldn't have the original, fucker.
That's your rule, Mr. Monkey Man. I do what I want. I'm president.
Nobody was suggesting that you kept it from the president. That's not the issue at hand.
My document. I love it.
How I,
It loves me back.
that's why.
Yeah.
All right, now I got it. I wasn't sure whether I handed it to the president. It was faxed to the president, which I had the copy.
Right.
Okay.
No, you don't have the copy. You have the original. That's how fax machines work.
You don't know?
I do. I've actually faxed things before, and I kept the original.
Oh, is that how that works?
I got a copy. I can read ahead, and so thankfully the guy checks him on this. But fuck, man, this guy was president.
Yeah. So I've been saying it, man. I'm shocked we weren't invaded.
You can't invade the United States because we still have the military might. I just am shocked we didn't accidentally kick off a war.
Well, yeah, there's that. But no, Biden would have been like, we can't deploy troops. We got pussy come hitherness. That means we can't put troops on the ground. So we're going to call some sumos from Mongolia.
Somebody find out if he went to Mongolia as president.
I don't think he did.
That's a good thing because he'd have a flashback of when that Mongolian pointed a bow at him and he'd kill someone. You know, with the chain because he's a bad dude. All right. God bless, man. This is the president of the United States.
It's so scary how close we came to nuclear Armageddon because of this man.
This is how bad even the inner circle knew Kamala was. They knew he was like this, that he was so bad that you couldn't even put him in public. And they were still like, yeah, don't let him step down because then Kamala takes over.
Yeah. That should probably scare us more because although she probably should have taken over, it's probably better she didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the country's probably a little bit better off, although I don't know. Could she have done
toss?
Could she really have done a worse job than Biden did?
I don't know, but I fear even wargaming that out. Showing up drunk for defense meetings and shit.
I catch replays of Gutfeld on YouTube most nights. And it's really bothered me the last 2 nights that one of the stories that's being hyped up, and apparently it's being hyped up in the press, is coming from that Jake Tapper book, right? About how Kamala had to have a trial run for her meeting that she was going to. And then they had the argument about whether or not she should get alcohol during it because she was going to have to go meet with a donor. And she was just so nervous. So they had a fake meeting. This shit has been known for years.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about it when it first leaked.
But now everybody's treating like it's a brand new story. And maybe years is wrong, but definitely since the election, since the campaign.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been at least a year. So
I think it came out when she becomes the nominee. So we're just under a year still.
Oh, okay.
But this isn't brand new information. And even Fox News is treating it as though nobody knew this.
That's just sad.
Anyway, God, we make fucking jokes about it all the time.
Yeah.
The president, it was faxed to the president, which I had the copy.
Right.
Okay.
You had the original.
Yeah, I had the original. And I just put it in the book, and that was it.
Okay. Were you aware that you had kept it after your term as vice president?
Again, that part doesn't matter. It's not like the vice president has carte blanche on classified documents. He's supposed to turn that shit in. Whoops. Why did that shrink instead of just playing?
Did you know that you had it?
I don't know that I knew, but it wasn't something I would have stopped to think about.
By the way, this is a classified document. That specific one, the Afghan memo, Jack, is one that blew up as part of a scandal because this is something we know he showed the ghostwriter for his book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a classified document he shared with somebody.
The reason I ask is it's been written about. Bob Woodward wrote about it in one of his books. Jules Woodcover wrote about it in his biography of you. So that's the reason I asked, is if it was something that you wanted to hang on to because it was going to be the subject of reporting or history.
I don't want to be subject to reporting, but I want to hang. I guess I want to hang on to it just for posterity's sake. I mean, this was my position on Afghanistan.
It was a classified document, sir, and that's not. Again, Jack, in principle, I don't really even have a problem with him having this document. It's the circumstances with which this case is being discussed right now with him and her there. Him and her. This all came about because they were blasting Trump for things like keeping his letter from Kim Jong-un. Like, this is all you can't have it. This motherfucker shouldn't have had any of this shit. And I guess I kept it for posterity. At least that's better than him going, oh, yeah, I remember I kept it for posterity's sake. No, you didn't. You kept that shit because you thought you could make money off of it with a book. That's what happened. Because having the details, Jack, that's where you sell your book. Like, ooh, this is what Biden thought of how to deal with Afghanistan. Not that anybody cares what Biden thought of Afghanistan until he got 13 people killed.
Yeah, well, look, Biden is a legend in his own mind and always has been.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he thought it would be much more relevant than it was.
Thank you, Dangerous. That last clip, do you think he was, one, so senile he immediately forgot the question, so just talked about whatever, or two, he tried to avoid answering and was so senile he got stuck on that talking point? I think it started with him trying to avoid the question, and as a dementia-ridden old cocksucker, his brain didn't know when to just stop with the nonsensical shit. So he starts off with, that's a tumultuous period, and he immediately goes to to Bo. That's how he started his answer, even though Bo had already died 2 years before that. 3 years if you go to 2018. And that's what he was doing. He was trying to answer it by deflecting to Bo. Bo, I was just so distraught by Bo, I couldn't think straight. And his brain, because Biden has been like this his whole life, even before the dementia, where he would go off on tangents that made no sense. They used to call him Crazy Uncle Joe, talk about the Biden gaffes, which sometimes were racist and sometimes were just, where the fuck did he go? And you take somebody like that and you give him dementia, you do not know how any question is going to be answered. And then you take that and you add it to, hey, criminal, why'd you do this? He starts off trying to get away from the question, and then he just wherever he can go to. And that's why we get to the eventual anyway, because that was Joe's thing whenever his brain would finally kick in and go, stop talking. We saw it in the 2019 debates, and we saw it every so often after that, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Especially anytime there was a question that he couldn't get an answer to. Anyway.
I've been of the view, from a historical standpoint, that there are certain points in history, world history, where fundamental things change using technology. For example, without Gutenberg's printing press, Europe would be a very different place. Literally a different place, because countries would not have known what was happening in other countries, other parts of the country. Think about a stupid idea, a notion. Nixon probably would have been president where he used the television, where he sweated. I mean, sincerely, he was sweating so profusely in that debate. A lot of people thought he won the debate, but he lost the debate because of his demeanor.
What the fuck is he rambling about? I guess I wanted to keep that for posterity because technology comes along that changes the world.
Yeah, I think what he was trying to do was put it in historical context that this type of memo is like so groundbreaking. It'll be remembered right up there with Nixon's speech and the Gutenberg press, because he self-aggrandizes so much, but it really came off as a driveling mess of nonsense.
Well, again, especially considering we have something called the National Archive, which would save that for posterity.
Not good enough. He wanted to keep it for himself. This is mine.
And going to the printing press and now with Nixon, look, it is true that the polling at the time showed people who listened on the radio thought Nixon did better than Kennedy, and people who watched the debate thought Kennedy did better than Nixon. But even then, I mean, it was much closer than it's talked about historically now. It's not like it was 90% of people thought Nixon won if they listened to the radio. And it also doesn't take into account that even then, I mean, the breakdown of watching television versus listening to the radio, having that tilt towards more people that are conservative listening to the radio. It just has nothing to do with this. Yes, you can make the argument that television changed his, presidential politics. But this was a memo about dealing with Afghanistan. This wasn't like the fucking Nuremberg trials. This wasn't some major, massive, world-changing thing. It was the sitting vice president's ideas. I've read the memo and I don't remember exactly what was in there. But it's not like it was some groundbreaking thing that was going to change all of the world, until he.
You say that, Monkey, but that's not how Biden interprets it.
And in fairness, with the way that he treated Russia and Ukraine, I guess you can make the argument that seeing how this retard thinks does eventually lead to World War III.
Now, let me describe for you what he saw in his head, right? See, his memory of this memo, which he's probably not looking at because it's like in front of him, but he can't figure out what those little symbols on the page mean. He's like, oh, yes, I remember this. This is when I went over to Afghanistan to save the Rosetta Stone from the Arabs. I called it Joey of Arabia.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this was
It had
like
sword fights and everything.
This was some kind of battle plan or something, or notes on a battle plan. I really should refresh my memory on that before I talk about it more. But yeah, this was not world-changing event, and him trying to comparing it to the Gutenberg press for fucking real.
He is that self-centered and egotistical, but also he's Baron Munchausen, so he's got to completely rewrite history for it.
People talk about Trump's ego, but god damn.
Yeah.
The Gutenberg printing press changed the fucking world. That is a real thing. The world is not where we are now if that's never invented. Well, education is slower. Technology doesn't advance the way it does. It literally allowed for the instant-ish exchange of ideas. The next thing that changes the world in that quick of a manner would be the telephone, well, maybe telegraph, then the telephone, and then the internet.
Thank you, Joseph Biden Gutenberg, for inventing that.
Fuck. It's times like this where I realize I'm honestly not all that arrogant.
So
well, you gotta learn from the master, dude.
Oh my God.
That I think are fundamentally changing how international societies function.
Bitch, you didn't even remember you saved the memo.
That was then. This is now. Now he remembers it, and he was dressed in traditional Arab clothes, sword fighting. There was a pirate ship, and that's how he fought Blackbeard, and then he saved Afghanistan, a nation.
What the actual fuck is he talking about?
He doesn't know. No one else does either. He's just making shit up like usual. The dude's gone, man.
Well, if he had said, oh yeah, I did remember that and I saved it for posterity, then the rest of this, as dumb as it is, at least makes sense with that answer. But when you start out going, did I have that? You can't then fall back on, I thought it was a world-changing thing. Those two things don't go together.
You would think so, but I bet there's a code in there. It's the secret Joey code, and only he knows it, and it leads to a treasure of great importance to the country. Some would say a national treasure.
This was world changing, so I saved it. Did I save it? All right.
And they relate a lot to technology. And one of the things that I was of the view that a lot has changed in terms of everything from the internet to the way in which we communicate with one another, to that has fundamentally altered the ability. I've had this discussion with the press.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's what I wanted to do.
I
It had nothing to do with Afghanistan.
Okay, great, that answered my.
And Mark, just really quickly,
Okay.
you have thought it was important to keep him, whatever, and he said, well, I guess I could have. His recollection.
Is that what happened? Hang on.
I think you dipped out for a minute because
Oh,
there was a long pause.
sorry.
That's okay.
So I don't know where you lost me, so I'm just going to back it up a little bit.
We lost right as the guy was interrupting.
Oh, okay. That was right about, right here.
Was a clean record getting into speculative areas when the president responded and said, I don't recall intending to keep this memo. You then said, well, might you have thought it was important to keep him, whatever? And he said, well, I guess.
All right. I have to go back and see if that's what happened.
Was this memo, Mr. President, was this something that you consciously kept after your term as vice president? Is this something that you wanted to hold on to?
I don't recall. Did I have this? Was this in my possession, this memo?
Yes, and to give you some context for this, Mr. President, it was found in the front of this notebook that's on the first page, and the notebook was found in the library at the Lake House in one of the drawers in the
The
cabinet.
answer is you don't recall.
I don't recall how it got back. I mean, I don't recall how it got back in the book because I sent it to the president. I gave it to the president. And this looks like the original. I don't think maybe there's a copy made, but I don't think so.
It was faxed, just to give you.
Oh,
some
okay, that's
context.
why.
Yeah.
All right, now I got it. I wasn't sure whether I handed it to the president. It was faxed to the president, which I had the copy.
Right.
Okay.
You had the original.
Yeah, I had the original. And I just put it in the book and that was it.
Okay. Were you aware that you had kept it after your term as vice president? Did you know that you had it?
I don't know that I knew, but it wasn't something I would have stopped to think about.
The reason I ask is it's been written about. Bob Woodward wrote about it in one of his books. Jules.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep that going for so long, but I'm trying to get to the lawyer's point where like you asked him to speculate on it. Well, he asked to speculate on it because people who shouldn't have had this had it. And I don't see how it's not clean to ask that question, Jack.
Yeah, that's a good question. But I think I have figured this out. Let me open another Coca-Cola here and I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
I may have had a lot of caffeine today. And I know you love my theories because I'm telling them to you either way. So let's hypothetically say that everything is played out exactly like it was reported, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was found in a notebook at the front of the notebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
They never said what the notebook was. And I think I've got it figured out. You see, in dark magic, you need something that was personal to a person in order to resurrect them. I think this was Joe Biden's Book of Shadows. And that document was so important to Joe, it had his thoughts in it, right? That how he thought it should be handled. So she used that as his personal puppet to bring him back from the dead. And that's why he's walking around like a goddamn lich right now.
Well, these I'm reading through the the closed captioning there, and he tells him that the reason he asked the question was because he was wondering if he kept it for a book, and then Joe could have just said, "No, I didn't. I have no memory of doing it for that." That whole rambling bullshit afterwards that is what the lawyer's really objecting to not being clean was all Joe's doing. The guy didn't ask him to speculate on why he kept it. Oh, lawyers are bad people, man. Lawyers are bad people.
See, that's why Joe can't remember like taking it home because Jill got it so she could resurrect him. He actually died in like 2005, I think. So yeah, this is all dark magic shit, man. This is like Bohemian Grove, Moloch Ball stuff that we shouldn't know about. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Dangerous, thank you. You know the whole you need to walk 10,000 steps idea? I wish I could power my metabolism with Joe's brain because his mind wanders all over the fucking map. Sharp as a tack, my fucking ass. Yeah, Yeah. Anyway.
Areas when the president responded and said, I don't recall intending to keep this memo. You then said, well, might you have thought it was important to keep him, whatever. And he said, well,
that's absolutely not what he did. That is a lie, sir. We went back and listened.
I guess.
Well, the cops don't have to tell you the truth, dude.
Yeah. Except for this isn't a cop. This is a lawyer, and he's just a scumbag.
Oh, that's fair.
His recollection, as I understand it, is he does not recall specifically intending to keep this memo after he left the vice presidency. And I want these questions to be as clearly recorded on the transcript as possible.
Then you should not have Joe Biden as your client, sir.
I want that transcript to be accurate. I can hear a stenographer crying.
God bless, man. And fuck that lawyer for that bullshit, man. All right, I think we have one more left. if memory serves. Did I get all of them? I want to make sure we get them all, Jack, because well, Joe's making my job really easy tonight, and I appreciate Joe doing that for me.
That's nice of him. Joe's a giver. Just ask his daughter Ashley.
Oh my God. 8 minutes ago, they released the entire 5-hour interview.
Are we doing a long show tonight? Because I'm going to need more Coca-Cola.
Oh, no, maybe. I want to do the whole thing.
That's what we're doing tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. All right. For those of you who want to watch it before we get to it tomorrow, I just threw it into chat for you. But before we get there, and tomorrow we'll just have to remember the parts we've already watched so we can skip ahead, which shouldn't be too hard because fuck, it's not like this shit isn't memorable.
Oh my God. It's so mind numbing. Like seriously, my brain cells are weeping.
At the very least, we will listen to the nut story tomorrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure by tomorrow morning somebody will have broken it down into sections and made it easier for us.
All right. Prosecutors probe whether Biden shared location of documents. What?
All right, go out to my car, walk past the secret documents on the left, and then take a right at the fishing gear, and then a left at the secret documents on UFOs. And that the green car's mine.
Thank you, Keldrig. He's as sharp as attack that's been in a classroom full of third graders who ram it into a brick wall until the tip is bent backwards.
That's
that's
attack.
And very apt, actually.
Yeah.
All right, Joseph, let's hear it.
In the course of explaining that memo about Afghanistan, you said to Mark, I just found all the classified stuff downstairs. And so you can imagine, we are curious what you meant when you said, I just found all the classified stuff downstairs.
I can answer that. He just found all the classified stuff downstairs.
Yeah, it's not that he knew it was there. He just discovered it. Like, somebody put all this shit in my basement.
Oh, no. See, that's not how I was looking for or thinking about it. I was thinking about it like say you and your wife, you wouldn't know this because you're lonely.
Yeah.
You're like, man, didn't we save that? And somebody you send your, I just found it in the basement. Do you know what I mean? You knew you had it. You just didn't know where you had it.
Oh, I thought he was trying to frame up somebody else. Like it just mysteriously appeared there. Clearly, Trump used his time machine. It got in his TARDIS and went back in time and shoved all this shit all around my house.
Oh my! All right. Anyway,
I don't remember. I'm not supposed to speculate, right? So,
Correct.
Okay. Well, I don't remember, and.
You're a grown-ass man. Speculate if you want to. No, listen to your lawyer. It's smarter that way. I just want to point out we're only 34 seconds of this 3-minute clip, and he's already said I don't recall, and I'm not supposed to speculate. That should be the end of this clip, Jack.
You would think so, but Captain Rambles here. That doesn't work like that.
It may have been.
I'm not supposed to speculate, but buckle in for some speculation.
Oh my God.
If he does say Trump with the time machine, I'm logging off for the night. I'm just calling it now, okay?
He was literally seconds ago told by his lawyer. His lawyer confirmed he's not supposed to speculate. And he starts with, it may have been. Oh, Jesus. All right. Oh, okay.
I just don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember?
It may have been that I just don't remember. Oh yeah, see,
God.
me and these documents have a long history. We served in the war together. Finally saved my life a few times from enemy fire. Those damn Union soldiers coming after me. Jesus.
Oh God, this guy was president. I know I keep saying that, but the more we listen, the more I'm just like,
mind blowing.
Fuck, we dodged a bullet.
Oh, we probably dodged a few. I don't know what kind of shit show was going on behind the scenes, but can you imagine working in that White House?
No. I especially can't imagine working in that White House and being able to keep this to myself.
Yeah, because you're having to pull 4 years of Weekend at Joey's. And you know Jill's running a lot of this shit behind the scenes, like, you need to shut the fuck up.
Danger says, Your Honor, my lawyer wants a new client. Yes. Oh, fuck. I actually feel bad for whoever the lawyer was in there with Joey.
Do you think Joey thought he was the lawyer?
Probably. And Bo was his co-counsel.
Yeah. And Uncle Posey was there with this mysterious fog. So yes, I did a throwback there.
You dodged a nuclear strike. Yes, we did.
Can you imagine what would have happened if Putin and Xi knew he was this bad?
I can't imagine that they didn't know he was this bad. This is why, look, say what you want about whether or not Trump could have stopped the Russian invasion, but Putin knew he could do it because he had met with Biden, or he'd spoke to Biden. Like, this fucker he ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah, well, they knew Biden before when he was VP too.
Yep.
But I don't think they knew he was this bad.
I think I see you say that, but you have to remember, like, Xi and him, they traveled 10,000 miles together. They had a buddy cop movie.
That's right. I forgot they had a wacky Asian adventure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he was in Mongolia. Him and Xi were like thumbing it for rides, and they ended up on this like Mongolian supermodel bus, and ended up at a Ren Fest where he met the prime minister and challenged him to a arrow contest or something. I don't know. I'm running out of analogies here.
But in all seriousness, both Xi and Putin have known Biden for a long time, and I guarantee you they could see he was bad.
Yeah.
And that's why you see China pulling the shit they were pulling, and it is why Putin was like, fuck it, let's go take the Donbass. He ain't stopping us.
I'd be curious to know if a reporter interviews Putin about this later on, like in the next couple of days, because I'd be curious to know how much he actually did know. Because, Captain Poopy Pants here wasn't hiding it real well, even if he was doped up. I mean, shit, we saw it during the election, but how much did they know? I'm just curious.
Can you talk for just a minute?
Sure. What would you like me to talk about? Oh, you could disappear doing technical stuff. All right, what's up, chat? This co-pilot, yeah. I went to law school for several years. What? That we don't have to die from the wounds. Oh, there's that. Yeah. Still find it hilarious that Kamala went to Ukraine to say, Putin, you better not invade Ukraine. And a few days later, they did just that. Well, they'd already built all the troops up on the border. 5 hours. It would take Monkey 10 days to go over that. Right? Oh, hey, Brian. How you doing, man?
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Technical
Hypnic
difficulties.
Objects made a good point.
What's that?
It's a 5-hour audio recording.
Oh.
It's going to take us 10 days to get through it.
True, but it'll be worth it. All right.
Remember telling Mark about the handwritten memo that you had written to President Obama?
I probably did. I don't remember it specifically, but my guess is I may have done that.
Okay. Do you remember telling him, I just found all the marked classified stuff downstairs?
Mark?
Telling Mark. Do you remember saying that to him?
No.
Okay. Do you remember actually finding any classified stuff downstairs?
No. The only thing I can remember is I wanted to be clear to him that I didn't want what he just heard me say about the memo to Iraq, even though it wasn't a top secret thing. I didn't want any of that mentioned. It was confidential.
If I remember correctly, Mark is the author that they were talking that was working on Joe's book.
Oh,
I just want to put in perspective what he just said. He told Mark not to put stuff in the book that Mark didn't know about, that Biden doesn't even remember finding. Why would you have to tell him not to put shit in the book that he didn't see?
because he has the memory of a goldfish.
And Mark must be fucking psychic. Because
maybe that'd be creepy.
The only way for Mark to have known about it is if the vice president there, X at the time, told him about it. Or, as the author claimed, showed it to him.
You see, they said, did you find any classified documents? He's like, yeah, they're hidden around the house. And my grandson, Charlie, he found the golden one. And we got to go to this chocolate factory where we had some floating bubble juice. Well, I'm sorry, what was the question?
This here is Biden admitting that he broke the law.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for him to tell Mark not to include that if Mark never saw it. But I remember telling him that he can't because it's not top secret. But should I shut up now? Yes, Joe, shut up.
It was confidential, right? Yeah, I don't think the jury would be awake for this.
No. And
I mean, like maybe one or two of them, but you'd get a mistrial just because half the jury's asleep by this point.
I think the jury listens to this guy talk and sees how out of it he is, and they're like, yeah, he probably did it, but he's going to be dead soon anyway. It's not worth it.
Right.
Because we are talking about classified documents. There's no that we know of any repercussions from him sharing it with this guy. They're not going to throw him in prison and have him die in there over that. And look, guys,
sure,
I hear you, Jack, but let's be honest about people, right? You put one woman on that jury and he's not found guilty, period.
Oh, absolutely true.
Even if it's fucking Kayleigh McEnany, even she's going to be like, oh, I can't do that to him.
Yeah. Yeah, they get all caught up in their feelings and estrogen.
Yep.
And
mm-hmm. And for the record, most guys would be that way too. Because men these days are basically women.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to look at this dude and be like, oh man, he is something else.
Faithless says, but it would expose his senility and incompetence. Well, justice wouldn't have pursued it until after he was out of office anyway, based on longstanding policy. So it would have, but not until after he was out anyway. I hear you. But we just don't put sitting presidents on trial.
It's not confidential in the classification sense, but don't write about it. That's off the record.
It was absolutely confidential in the classified sense.
That's off the record. Nothing to see here, Mr. FBI.
That's not something I want to be talking about in the book.
At this point.
Okay, so he showed him. Okay. The Afghan memo here, Jack. If this book is just about Bo, why would you even show that to this guy?
He's a braggadocious dumb shit.
That's exactly what it was. He was bragging.
In time, around a month or so after you left the vice presidency, were you still in the process of going through your stuff at CBR to see what was packed where and where everything was?
Well, I don't specifically remember, but I can't imagine not. I mean, they just drop all these boxes, library boxes, and there's a hallway.
For the record, all this stuff is supposed to be sorted before they leave, Jack.
Yeah.
In the back of the garage, a lot of stuff in the garage itself, boxes piled up.
And 6 years later, you still hadn't gone through it all?
Well, it takes a long time to sort stuff, Monkey. Can you imagine what he burned in the backyard before that?
How many
That I didn't
fucking
think was important?
how many fucking boxes did you get from the White House?
I mean, Obama took like a warehouse full. So,
Oh, well, look, it says right here 5 boxes. 5 boxes. 6 years ago. How big are these fucking boxes? Are they like wardrobe boxes? Ah,
And,
well, were they just 5 boxes at that one location, or was it a total of 5 boxes?
that's a good question. Dom, we're listening to Joe Biden. This is her interview we've talked about before. They finally released the audio. Well, I don't know that released is exactly the right word. Because as far as I know, Justice hasn't commented on this.
Yeah, somebody obtained it.
Yes. Axios obtained it and has released it to the world.
and there's a hallway in the back of the garage, a lot of stuff in the garage itself, boxes piled up. And my problem was,
So there you go, Jack. It was 5 boxes in the garage.
Yeah, well, look, there was probably a hole in the wall from where he backed into it one time, so he needed to fill that in, and he didn't have any cinder blocks laying around, so he just got some classified documents and used those boxes to fill it up. That's a structural support box, Monkey.
Ah. All right, I can give it. If it was keeping the garage up, I guess you just can't go through it. It might fall down.
Exactly.
where the hell's all this stuff going? You know, I mean, we're just taking up a lot of room. And, but it wasn't so much, I was looking for anything, it was like, well, what do I clear out?
You have tons of boxes of paperwork that you clearly don't care of, and you never got rid of it when you were looking to clear out all of this excess shit. I kind of wish he was cogent, because I'd like answers to these questions where we can't just go, he's too out of it to remember.
Yeah, there's probably some partial truths hidden in there, but with this man, it's impossible to speculate what was really going on, because you just don't know. He's a pathological liar. He's delusional. He believes his own bullshit. He is Baron Munchausen. He just says shit.
You know, what do I get out of the way? It's in near a hallway, or it's in the garage, or it's in, you know, in this library. It was more in that context I can recall thinking about what was in the boxes.
Okay.
Not like I'm looking for something, like I'm trying to compile things. But just what they pack up, what's here.
Remember, the way this was all found out is because he's leaving Penn, and one of the people who is tasked with removing his stuff from Penn has to go through all those documents. You know, just like when he left the White House, people had to go through those documents. And one of them went, oh, we should probably tell them about this since we're giving Trump so much shit over it, because if it gets out on its own, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
these
Tim
dirty
Gersh's
bastards.
birthday.
Whose?
Tim Gersh.
Tim, it is your birthday. Around here we do this, and this one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tim. Happy birthday to you. Oh, it's his 40th, bro. You want to get a heating pad and some Motrin or aspirin, whatever you use for pain relief.
Yeah, it's some icy hot.
Icy hot, good. Yep. I'm a big fan of this lidocaine roller my wife got me.
Oh yeah. I always get the icy hot with lidocaine because that stuff's amazing. Unless you're allergic to capsaicin, that stuff's great.
Maybe I'm allergic to that stuff because we had to stop using the icy hot one because it kept leaving red blotches on me.
Yeah, you're allergic to capsaicin, most
Yeah.
likely.
So I forget which one we get. It's in a yellow roller. Works very, very well. But happy birthday, my friend. Welcome to old age.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here. Shit starts breaking now.
40, man. Happy
My
birthday.
40s were fun, but
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you bringing the birthdays to our attention. Nuts is going to be gone for a little while, Jack. And for some reason, I always see when she mentions people's birthday. I don't know why that happens. It's not like I look out for them.
well, she will bring them to our attention, and we do pay attention to what she's saying.
I just always see it when she does it. It's not on purpose. So I appreciate you guys stepping in. Yeah, she was very vague about it, but she's got some stuff to go back and deal with, I believe, in Kansas. And hopefully it's all good.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay, Stargazer, if you're listening. No, I think much like Bran, we pay attention to the people that drop the links.
No, because there's tons of other people who've dropped links, and I miss
And
stuff
you
they
ignore
said.
them.
I don't even see this. It really is weird. I do not know why my eyes go to her stuff. It's not on purpose. I do not seek it out. And hell, there have been times where it's like, oh, Nuts is here. And she's like, I've been here the whole show, where I've clearly missed everything she said since. But if it's a birthday, for some reason, that always gets my attention. Anyway, well, there it is, guys. That was the United States president. Clearly guilty, Jack.
Yeah.
He had the documents. He can sit there and go, oh, I didn't even know I had them. You kept them for some reason at some point when you had no right to be keeping them.
No, he was framed. The Great Gazoo put those in there.
Yeah.
Only he could see them.
And this shows beyond any shadow of a doubt. When did this take place? This was like in what, 2022?
2022 or 2023. Not sure. Somewhere in there.
By that time, he's clearly just gone. Just gone. His best answer is, I don't recall. Speaking of Nixon, I don't recall.
Look, I don't recall, or I plead the fifth, are probably the best answers you could give.
Yep.
Especially to the feds. But Jesus Christ, then he's like, oh yeah, this one time me and Uncle Bozy were fighting ninjas in Mongolia. Telling stories that go nowhere.
When we found these documents, we handed them over immediately /6 months. That's the same, right? Well, yeah. I mean, we don't. You want to know the really fucked up part? We don't know that all the classified documents he had got turned over.
Yeah, who knows what Hunter found in the garage and decided to keep for his own various purposes.
How much do we know about what he had and, I don't know, say meetings with foreign leaders or phone calls with foreign leaders about his upcoming presidential run?
Yeah, or dirt that he had on other people, you know?
Yeah.
Or stuff that he may have even had and then just thrown in the trash.
October 2023. Thank you, Dangerous. That's when that took place. So for at least, remember, this is the last year of his presidency. And this is before Joe Scarborough told us he was the most cogent he'd ever been. And fuck you if you don't think Biden is the most mentally acute he's ever been. He's the smartest guy ever. That is one of the most insulting parts of what Scarborough said, is that not that Joe was cogent, but it was the most cogent he'd ever been.
Fucking
the most
gross,
at 84.
Yeah, nobody's that good at 84. Look, my dad was pretty lucid up until last month or so of his life. But he could have a conversation, but he was definitely slipping.
Yeah.
And Joe was way more gone than that. He clearly had some serious decline.
Evil One says he might have been, Monkey. I hear you, because Joe Biden has never been a sharp guy. But when we're talking about cognitive ability, he used to know he was lying.
Did he? I mean,
Yes, he fucking knew. It's why he would change up the story when we get called out on it. Like, I didn't sit on black people's porches. I saw black people on a porch.
I saw poor people once. That counts, right?
I watched the Cosby Show once.
What if though? What if he really was sharp as a tack, and this whole dementia thing's a ruse?
You know, there's that great SNL skit about Reagan with the Iran-Contra thing, and when in front of the press, Reagan is, you know, acting all goofy and stupid, and then behind the scenes, he's the mastermind. I saw too much of Joe talking to believe that's even a possibility.
I'm just throwing it out there for the conspiracy theory crowd.
No, there's no possible way.
You heard that? Monkey's a truth denier. He's a Joe Biden senile believer.
Oh, you know what horrible thought I had earlier today?
Uh-oh.
President Trump is a pretty old guy.
Yeah.
Trump is what, 80 right now?
He's like, what, 82?
Yeah, he's in his 80s. It wouldn't be unusual for somebody in their 80s to pass away.
Yeah.
Even suddenly.
Yeah.
And if that happened, nobody will believe that it was just natural causes.
No, that conspiracy theory will go on forever. Even if they release the autopsy, because after 2 assassination attempts and all the treachery going on in the federal government, nobody's going to believe that that's a MAGA supporter.
Oh, Gene's telling us.
diehards.
Gene's telling us he's 79. He'll be 82 or 3 when he leaves. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Didn't mean to add a few years on there. Sorry, Trump.
I knew he was close to it. But even at 78, I mean, you're past the average life expectancy.
Yeah, he's a little overweight, but otherwise he's athletic enough. He goes out and plays golf still. He's active, I should say. So that's a plus for him. Plus, he doesn't drink or smoke.
After 8647, natural causes are totally believable. But here's the thing. It could happen. I don't want it to, because God bless, I don't know what would happen to this country. But nobody would believe it. Yeah. There would be conspiracy theories everywhere about it. And like you said, even somebody on the grassy knoll.
Yeah, it would be this generation's Kennedy assassination.
It would be. And that's pretty fucked up for our country. Because like I said, it's not out of the... There's a better than even chance that Trump doesn't finish his presidency.
Yeah, and I think he knows that. But good on him for doing it. Because, sure. Oh my God, I'm glad he won.
But, man... Trump is... Would y'all make up your mind on how old he is? I know he's close to 80 and close enough that this conversation still makes sense.
Yeah, don't make us look it up. We're way lazier than that. Come on, guys.
Yeah, shit. Do my job for me. Tell me the real age. Anyway, yeah, that really bothered me when I thought about that. That, like, I mean, he's old. He is old. And if he dies, I know Jack Posobiec is going to be out there like, it's the deep state.
Well, you'd have Posobiec, Alex Jones, the guy that does the War Room, whatever his name was. Yeah. He's the one that went to jail, the fat guy. Roger Stone and all these other guys perpetuating the story, and it will go on for years and years and years. I mean, seriously, 20 years. That would be the conspiracy theory. Because you've already got them not releasing the Epstein file list and all these other secretive shit they're doing. It wouldn't surprise anyone that somebody in the deep state would slip a Mickey to the president and try and make it look like natural causes.
Guys, I was just fucking around, but thank you. This is why I love our audience. He's 78. He turns 79 next month, which does make sense because I swear I had heard he was going to be 82 or 83 when he leaves
Bannon,
office.
Thank you for it.
Oh, yeah, Bannon. Bannon is such a douche.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's where we're wrapping this one up, guys. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you for the donation. if there's no other major story I want to cover, then tomorrow we will be doing a lot of Joe Biden. A lot. So settle in for that. Although I do want to get to that. I want to get to that little British limey piece of shit who was talking about how Europe needs to go to war with America.
Oh, that little fruitcake. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring it on, pansy.
Yeah. Come on, Redcoat. Let's see what you're made of.
You know what? Fuck it. We got time. You don't have to go anywhere, do you?
No, not right now.
Fuck it. Let's deal with a little limey piece of shit. Thank you, Dangerous. He's the most cogent he's ever been. You realize that makes it worse, right, Scarborough? That means you've been covering for a guy that was worse than what we could all see, fucking idiot. Well, remember, he never saw any of that stuff. He never,
Just like he doesn't know what happened to his intern.
Yes. He was totally out of the country, in another county on a mission for MI6. It wasn't him.
Witnesses. Listen up in advance.
All right. To my limey friends out there, please understand I do not judge you all by this fucking retard.
Just most of you.
Just a lot of you, yeah. Or at least a lot of your countrymen.
And we've seen this ass clown before. I remember those creepy eyebrows anywhere.
I don't remember him, but I will take your word for it because we watch a lot of weirdos and each of us hone in on different things to remember. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure I called him like Timu Moby at one point.
I would not be shocked. All right, here we go.
The time has come for the UK and the EU to declare a state of war with the United States.
Okay.
You do realize that by the time you got your military even remotely up to par, because we provide the defense for most of Europe.
You say you do realize that your military is our military, right?
Idiots.
Of America. Ever since the fascist takeover by Donald Trump, Doge, and Elon Musk, America now represents a serious threat to democracy across the world.
You guys don't even have democracy, not real democracy.
Don't you still bow to a king, fucker?
Yeah. What the? What? You barely have the Magna Carta still in place, buddy. Come on. Did somebody get arrested the other day for some nonsense post they made? It was a former cop made some post on Facebook and he got arrested the other day. Like, come on, fuck off, you fucking babies.
Here, we don't even have to get our military involved. All we need to do is go, Muslim world, take them.
Shit, we'll call up some Florida men and fix this problem right fast.
Your bitch ass would be like, oh, I guess the Muslims want it. We're done.
The Muslims already run the UK. I don't know what he's talking about. They're not going to go to war for you.
Across the world, especially in the Western world. And by betraying Ukraine, Zelensky, and the EU and leaving us at the mercy of Vladimir Putin, we have no choice now.
But to build your own military? Fuck you.
We left you at the mercy of Putin.
Yeah, because we're not out there fighting their war for them.
But you think you could take us?
Yeah. Again, with what military?
You're at the mercy of Putin, but you're going to stand up to the United States military.
Yeah.
Bruh.
You're delusional, you creepy eyebrow motherfucker.
Thank you, Keldrig. The combined military might of all European countries isn't even worth half the U.S. military. Yeah, our military is the size of what, like the next 10 combined?
Yeah, it's ridiculously big.
Yeah.
There are countries that have larger militaries, but not the scale of ours. Like, we have better technology. North Korea has more foot troops, but they can't move them around.
Having more soldiers is not the same as having a bigger military, because this isn't Roman times.
I mean, we could probably line up in old style Revolutionary era lines to fight these guys and still win.
Yeah. But anyway, but they have no choice now.
To fight for freedom and democracy for all people all around the world.
Says a guy who comes from a country where somebody was thinking a prayer and got arrested. Freedom.
You want to start World War III over the fascism of Doge, which is funny as fuck. The fascists take over by Trump, Doge, and Elon Musk.
What fascism? What freedoms are being denied people? Seriously.
We cannot let this pass. You want to start a war because you disagree with Donald Trump and you have the nerve to call him a fascist.
Yeah, there was an election in another country that I don't like. We should start a war there. Huh. That sounds suspiciously fascist. Yeah, I think you're right, Monkey.
Now, of course, this is not a fight that's going to be easy to win.
No. It is not a fight you can win.
Yeah, I think the word impossible is what he's looking for right there.
Bruh, this is not 1860 or 1760. We'll even go back further to give them the best chance of their military being the mightiest one on the planet. You guys can't cross the ocean like we can. Go ahead. Get your fighter jets over here. Let me see.
Yeah, you got what, 2 stealth bombers over there? Come on, dude. You have a much smaller country that's a lot easier to hit.
America is a very powerful country, but I will be the first to volunteer to fight for that cause, to fight that war.
Oh, yeah. Stellar representation of masculinity there. You look like you'd pee yourself if a cat jumped out at you.
You're not willing to join your military now, but if a war starts with America, you'll be the first to sign up.
Yeah, come on. This dude has his girlfriend's boyfriend kill spiders for him.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Whether it's on the beaches of New York or...
Have you ever been to New York, dude? You don't want to go anywhere near those beach lines.
You're going to get a needle stuck in your foot.
Yeah, you're going to get hepatitis. You wouldn't even get through the bums and roaches in New York. What are you talking about? Those are battle-hardened soldiers right there.
I'm just imagining this guy with his simp squad showing up in fucking New York. Because say what you want about, the liberals and all that shit, but you come and attack us, the gangs will kill you. They'll be like, we can kill people? Fuck it, let's go.
The shores of the River Thames.
The rats would fold them, right? You ever seen the rats in New York City? You could put a saddle on them and have toddlers ride them.
We must fight fascism wherever we see it.
Have you thought about your own government?
Is the fascism in the room with us now?
Oh God, this is the problem with public education. It really is.
Well, they don't know what fascists are. They just think they're generic bad guys. Like anyone they disagree with is a fascist. This is upsetting on many levels.
Michael, thank you so much. Morning, guys. Sorry I'm late. Back to the beginning. We're always glad to have you whenever you can show up, even if you're watching it later on and we're not even on the air anymore.
Yeah. Hi, Michael.
All right.
There are at least communists who are running England, right? They have more authoritarianism in Europe and England than they do anywhere in the U.S., short of like a small town enclave run by Boss Hogg.
And wherever we see it, as nations, and stand as one.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Why did Brexit happen?
Why, if you need to fight fascism, wherever it is your idea to come after America instead of, I don't know, China?
Or Canada.
But no, if we're looking for, communism basically requires fascism.
Yeah.
So you have a much larger population than us. They've been around since the 40s in this form. And you're like, but Donald Trump got elected, so we need to fight America. Because we fight fascism wherever it is, unless it's communist, which we approve of.
Yeah, well, one brand of socialism is better than the other, apparently. Yeah, sorry.
Real quick, thank you, Frosted. We're now at war with Europe. Texas gets a boner. No shit.
Yeah.
I dare you.
I don't know, man. This is a byproduct of terminally online.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Did I just cut out? I did.
I think we picked up our lag. Hold on.
Oh, it says Robo Jack. So, hey, it wasn't me for once. Can y'all hear me still? Jack, are you there?
Yeah, I'm resetting my thing here. Hold on.
Blue Eyed said, I'm crying. Man, I'm sorry, Europeans. Some of you are nice, but I want this to happen. Don't worry. It won't last very long. This shit will be over real quick. Because this is the guy who's signing up to fight for you. You know, Jack, you know when people choose their champion to fight for him, is there any world where you pick this guy? Well, I don't care if you're a crippled midget with no legs. This is not your champion.
No, like this little pussy, he's not going to fight anything. He's another keyboard warrior who acts tough, but has never been in a real fight. And anything remotely resembling a crisis would have him in the fetal position, whimpering like a bitch.
Yeah.
Am I coming through now? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, sorry, I had to close chat because it was using up too much. I figured out what the problem is on my end when I start roboting. It's because the browser for chat ends up running like 2.2 gigs.
Oh, wow.
And it's because it's fucking Chrome, so it's killing me. So I usually refresh it and it dumps it down to 640 or so, but not this time.
Whether that's us without America in NATO fighting Donald Trump's armies, or whether that's fighting Vladimir Putin.
So you two are Putin and Putin and the United States. And you still started with the United States because you have to fight fascism wherever it is.
Yeah, well, Trump is a stooge of Putin, see? So really, you're fighting both of them.
Then it would make more sense to go after Putin.
One would think, but this person is not smart. And he wants to fight a war on two fronts, apparently, because that's worked out well historically.
Jen says, just send in one moose. They wouldn't be able to handle it. True.
If we don't take action now and stand for our values,
Which values, sir? This is the problem with people who talk like this. We need to stand for our values. Which ones? Because maybe I'm on your side on some of them.
Yeah, the ones laid out by Marx, probably.
The fact that you didn't include China in any of this tells me we won't agree. But
yeah.
What exactly is the value? Because if all you've said so far is democracy gave Hamas control of Gaza.
Also elected Hitler.
Yeah. Stop with this. Democracy is great unless we disagree with it because of Donald Trump. Get fucked, you little weird limey bitch. Go piss in your kitchen where you guys have your toilets.
Wait, is he like the left's version of Stefan Molyneux?
I don't know what this guy is.
I mean, look at him.
What's his name? Damien Soylash. Well, if ever there was an appropriate name. All right, soy boy.
If we don't take action now and stand for our values, stand for our liberal left-wing values, then I believe they will be under threat and possibly destroyed forever. Now, obviously, America is a nuclear armed country, and that poses a serious challenge.
That's not what poses the challenge.
I mean, we wouldn't need them, but
No.
we could just drop 5 or 6 of them and fix the problem right away.
The United States Marine Corps is what poses the challenge, fucker.
Yeah, I mean, get a couple of SEAL teams. We could wrap this up real nice.
The Army would just run through you like, even the Air Force would be, you would be target practice for these guys.
Yeah, not to mention how many defectors are going to help us in this cause, because a lot of Europeans love us. Their governments are, and these idiots, they don't like us. But I think there's plenty of people that'd rather be ruled by Trump than their current government.
The Coast Guard would be the challenge. No shit.
But sometimes you have to stand up and fight for what you believe in, no matter what the challenge is or what the consequences might be.
Whatever.
I accept your terms, sir.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Let's borrow Godzilla from Japan for a little bit. They won't mind.
Come
sure they
take
got
it
some
back.
pictures.
I dare you.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even need our armies. There are enough armed Americans that we would not need our armies.
Right? Every hillbilly is like, we gonna shoot some redcoats?
No
Sweet.
shit. I dare you. I want you to do this. I really do. And look, if New York gets blown up a little bit, all right.
Well, how would you know?
Right. I mean,
Diplomatically, this will be very difficult, given our long-standing allyship with the United States.
you mean our conservatorship of you guys?
Yeah.
Let's be
no-
real.
There's gonna be no Lend-Lease program here, buddy. You're gonna get obliterated.
But sometimes allies do turn on each other and times change. And you have to stand up for your values no matter what.
Yeah, you're trying
I-
to stab us in the back, you little weasel.
I look forward to your entrance into the Taiwanese army. You're going to go do that, right? To stand up to the fascists?
He probably owns a copy of Mao's Little Red Book.
Oh, he definitely owns the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah.
He's never read it because he can't read clearly.
Mummy,
I
will
just-
you read to me from the book again?
Oh, Monk has found it for us. Apparently, the nut story is an hour and 12 minutes into the full Biden clip. Okay, so cool. We'll
Nice.
watch that tomorrow.
Thanks, Monk.
All right, look again, Europeans. I know there's a lot of you listening. I love you guys. I think it sucks what is happening in your governments, and that
Yeah.
most of your countrymen are clearly actually women. By the way, there was going to be a different name for this stream and yesterday's stream. It might still happen. I'm going to do a show coming up soon. I just have to put this out there. I'm tired of women, all women, but especially white women, of course. And I just want to spend a whole day dunking on them, Jack.
Oh, okay.
I watched a video today. Oh, fuck, I don't know the guy's name. I've seen him pop up on YouTube a couple of times. I'll find it while I'm talking. But he was talking about it's not black exhaustion. What's the name of it? Oh fuck. What's another word for exhaustion, Jack? Help me out here.
Weary, tired,
Fatigue.
fatigue.
I found it. His name is Amir Odom. And I'm
Oh,
gonna throw it.
is-
Go ahead.
As you talk about black fatigue, I've seen that going around Twitter.
Yes, and originally black fatigue was this nonsense liberal idea that it's just so exhausting to be black in America.
It's you constantly having to explain real history to Whitey.
It's so hard being black in America. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted of being black in America. Well, it's being used differently now. And it's people tired of ratchet ass behavior.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
most real black people are tired of that shit.
Well, that's the funny thing about this video. Here, I'm just going to bring up the opening. This is how his video starts about it. And I want you to notice that the two people on the screen are both black.
What?
Yeah. Now, in this video, he shows 3 people who are black, who are, maybe it's 4, but who are tired of ratchet nonsense. And, or what Chris Rock talked about fucking 3-4 decades ago now. Maybe it was 3 decades. There's a famous part of the 2nd episode of The Office where Michael repeats Chris Rock's thing on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't even a new idea. It's just gaining steam because they're talking about it again. But near the end of this, and I have to go find the original video, this chick. This chick is why I'm going to be bashing on white people or white women.
Oh, God.
Because this woman just thinks it's absolutely nonsense for anybody to be tired of ratchet ass behavior. And how dare anyway, you fucking honky. It's only honkies who are doing this, by the way.
That guy's really well tanned for a white guy.
I don't know if that's the sun or a special tanning bed, but yeah, I mean, I've never gotten that golden brown. Maybe I'm tanning wrong.
Well, you're part Native American too. How are you not achieving this level of tan? Clearly, he is Cherokee.
This woman, she's white savior girl.
Yep, of course she is. Look at her. She looks like a fucking Karen. Size of that forehead. Those glasses.
Blue-eyed Scream says white liberal women. I'm not leaving it just to liberal women because, as we pointed out many times, there's a lot of conservative women who have the feminist mindset because it's just drilled into them from the beginning.
Yep.
So I'm going to say it this way. The same way that I talk about trans or gay or any of that other shit, it's the activist. And unfortunately, apparently every white woman's an activist.
Most of them are because they're
bored.
Group think and they have tiny girl brains. It's just all it is. I'm sorry, ladies. Tiny brains.
There's a reason we used to keep them in the kitchen. We got to keep them busy or they fucking go insane.
Yeah, they get silly notions in their dizzy little brains, and then they start spouting nonsense.
Now, for the record, again, I'm not familiar with Amir. I've seen his face a couple of times in thumbnails that didn't interest me, but this one got my, yeah, he really does. And this one got my attention because it's a topic that I would talk about. And I was enjoying it until White Lady came on. Even the people that I disagreed with, he was doing a really good job of, tearing them down and stuff. But White Lady pissed me off. So look forward to that one, guys. And for those of you out there, how come you only pick on white women? Because they won't shut the fuck up.
Because the others know their place. I mean, what?
No, the other women, and this is true, because even if they're on the same stupid stuff, my problem with them is usually behavior like Jasmine Crockett trying to pull out her dick on people.
Yeah, well, she tries to do the ratchet thing, and it's really tiresome and not funny.
Yep.
Nobody wants to deal with snotty chicks that think they know more than everybody and ratchet women. Sometimes those go together.
Yeah, most of the time, though, like especially Hispanic and black women, it's more aggression that needs to be chilled the fuck out. Asian women, thankfully, stay quiet, which is awesome. But white women, god damn, they are condescending and stupid. And hashtag not all white women. My wife is white. My daughter is white. I don't hate them. They're smart. They were, exposed to me. And
they're angels for what they put up with.
They really are. There's tons of smart. The problem is the smart ones don't speak up the way that the dumb ones do.
Well, the smart ones don't want to deal with these lunatics either.
And so again, men, it is our job to put women like that in their goddamn place because fuck, no one else is doing it.
Well, I guess we're going to have to save the world again.
I will call out men, Jack, because I am a man. And when they're being stupid, as part of that group, I call them out. Nobody's doing that in the white woman community, so we're going to call them out instead. I'm tired of white women. I just really am. I'm tired of them. Fuck it. We're gonna do some of Amir's video here. I got to go find this woman, and unfortunately, her TikTok handle's not on here.
This is why we tell you not to leave till after Monkey sings.
Oh God, I some things just annoy me to where I can't fucking stop. All right, check out his channel, Amir Odom. I'll link it again when we're done with this. But
it's a white woman who has now since deleted her video talking about black fatigue and how she and the rest of society are so.
Just listen to her fucking tone, man.
Yeah.
Oh, some people won't get this. Some of you will. I feel Sean Connery right now.
Wow.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Fed up with the ghetto and ratchet behavior, the entitlement, the victimhood. Her words, not mine.
Also, the words of several black people at the beginning of Amir's video here. So yeah, don't just put it on the white lady. Why don't you go out? Hey, call out those black people who are saying this shit. I dare you.
Yeah, good luck with that happening.
Couple of things. One, black fatigue is a real thing, but it's
not in the way you're about to use it.
It's not what that lady was saying. Black fatigue is the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by the daily stress of living under systemic racism and its consequences.
Which black people in America haven't done for 40 years.
Yeah, at least.
The majority of the black population in the United States didn't live under any of that shit.
Yeah, that's something especially people from other countries don't realize is that Jim Crow laws were largely in the South.
Yep.
There were like in my state of Ohio, there was no separated fountain drinks. Black people could go use the same bathrooms, the same water fountains, the same restaurants. That shit was mostly in the South. Some here or there through the Midwest, but no, most of that shit was in the South.
Let's back this up and let's get to this gentleman right here.
This video.
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote unquote black community. But it goes deeper than that because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. But the interesting part is the lie that's been sold to the black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character.
Amen, brother. That's exactly what they're telling black people. You can't be as smart as white people because of the color of your skin. You can't get jobs. You can't get housing. You can't show up on time. You can't not act a fucking fool in public. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. The whole notion that all black people are like that is just not true. They're not all ratchety. That is some nonsense. And no black people want to be around that shit. Okay, not no. There is a growing segment who are acting a fool. But a black family who's just trying to raise their kid, they don't want to go into a Walmart and see Shaniqua on the ground fighting with a cop.
Yeah. Throwing snack packs around with their weave everywhere. No, that's trash. In the white community, we have trailer parks.
For the record, they don't want to walk in and see Sharon doing it either.
No, fuck no. Nobody wants to look at that trash. Doesn't matter what your skin tone is. Nobody wants to deal with that crap. Stop it.
But the only ones who get a pass for it, that's just their culture. No, it's not. What the fuck are you talking about?
What kind of low standards do you have for people if you think that's acceptable in any culture?
The two most prissy, uptight women I have ever met, the most proper women I have ever met in my life, Jack, were both black. One of them was my neighbor, and one of them was my teacher. And they did not put up with any fucking foolishness. Apparently, they weren't black.
Did they vote for Joe Biden?
I honestly don't know. I haven't seen him in 20 years.
Well, that's the litmus test for blackness.
Miss Daisy, our neighbor, she had a whole room no child was allowed in.
That's just smart.
It
That's
had,
just planning right there. You got to keep the kids out. They got sticky fingers and they break shit.
her own children weren't allowed in there.
Yep. Smart move. I respect that.
She was always, you never saw Miss Daisy in sweats. This woman wore really nice dresses, constant. She was a Navy wife, Jack.
Oh, that explains it. Yeah.
And she was the most proper woman I've ever met in my life. But no, it's just that culture. It's just because of their skin color. Do you understand how fucking racist it is to say, hey, acting a fucking asshole is just how they are because of the color of their skin?
That does sound incredibly racist when you say it out loud like that, Monkey.
But it's what they're saying.
Of course it is. They're dressing it up a little bit, though, because they don't want to admit that they're giant racists.
This is where the whole notion of acting white comes from. The notion that a black person can act white is racist as fuck.
Yep. It
acting
really
white.
sounds like it came out of a Klan pamphlet.
It did. It's where the whole notions come from.
What?
This the way they have black people and white women advocating for black people who never asked you to, by the way, is literally how the southern states and the Klan think black people are. And by southern states, I don't mean modern southern states. I mean, say, pre-1865. They're just savages. They can't get along in normal society.
They need white people to lift them up.
Not just lift them up. No, control them, Jack.
Well, I mean, what would they do without Whitey? I mean,
Oh my God, man. And it
That's
is amazing. The whole ratchet behavior shit, this is new. This is some nonsense that's just over the last 40 years or so.
Because there's no consequences anymore. There's no punishment for acting a fool.
No. And yeah, black fatigue is the first person I ever heard use it in the context that it's being used now was a black guy. But white lady's here to tell us how a white lady made it happen. And fuck that white lady, because I'm the good white lady. White liberal women, activist women are fucking trash. And I'm going to trash them one night, Jack, just for the fun of it.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe I'll reach out to Amir and see if he can get me that video. I don't know if he's on Twitter or anything. But I really want that full video so we can watch it, because fuck that little trash bitch.
I bet it's online somewhere. We just have to find out a little bit more about the woman.
Yeah, and I hate that it doesn't have a TikTok thing on it. Maybe if I just look up black fatigue, I'll find it.
Yeah, you have to do a little bit of scrolling, but I bet you will.
Jen says, I think he is. Yeah, maybe I'll reach out to him and see. But that's not tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is, if nothing else major comes up, we're going to do the Biden thing. And hell, maybe we'll skip around, because it is 5 hours, and that is a lot of Joe Biden.
Oh, I hope we have to skip around, dude. I don't know if I could do 5 hours, because it's 5 hours of audio, but with our breaks, well, it's gonna take us like a week.
I don't know if there's any breaks in there or not.
No, I mean, we break it up by pausing and talking.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
It's easy to ask him stuff when he does stream. Oh, well, maybe I should start following him. I don't follow him on YouTube. I should subscribe.
Monkey wants to follow a black guy around and ask him questions.
Oh, I'm going to give him black fatigue. He's going to be tired of having to explain to a white person.
He's going to wonder why a guy with a monkey avatar is asking him questions.
Oh, shit. I saw your video on race, and it really intrigued me. You see my monkey? Once again, I'm going to toss his link into chat, because again, I'm not Oh, I said again, but I haven't said this part yet. I don't know much about the guy, and I'm not co-signing all of what he's done. I'm just that last video, but since I did show some of it, we'll show him some love, and there's his channel. On that notion, we are done. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the donations. If you're in Europe and you want to join the war against us,
Good luck.
please get a GoPro and have it streaming when you decide to. Jack, anything you want to show?
No, I haven't accomplished anything in the past few days. So yeah, not much going on here. I'm working on stuff, just haven't completed anything. Got a lot of stuff in the pipeline though.
Nothing else for this show. I feel like the ending has already been over half an hour. So
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for the donations and all the support you give us. We do really appreciate it.
Jack, a pleasure as always, my friend.
I'm always glad to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Take care of yourselves. We love you. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
I've been working on the railroad like a little Chinese man.